Hey guys, so today I'm going to give you guys my reaction to the Bleacher Report Top 100 NBA Players of All Time ranking list. So Bleacher Report is their sports publication. They do many articles on sports, and they just came out with this Top 100 Players list last week, I believe, or a few weeks ago actually. Yeah, so I'm just going to give you guys my reaction to this because I like to rank NBA players. I've done so almost every year on my channel. I made a video about each NBA player, ranking them. And so this is my personal ranking. I took this from the video I made last year. I did a 7-hour video basically explaining each player and why I ranked them that high or low. And this video is not going to be that long, of course. I'm not going to go into detail about that. I just want to go over Bleacher Report's list and kind of see like if their ranking is going to be similar or different from my ranking. So I think that'll be fun to see. I based my ranking on just stats, awards and accolades and career totals, but it'd be interesting to see how they rank their players. It's probably going to be a different criteria, of course, and it's going to be made by a like group of people. So they have a whole bunch of different writers that gather together to rank. So of course their ranking is going to be different from mine. I just want to see how different there is. So yeah, this is going to be my live reaction to their top 100 NBA players list. I haven't seen this list yet. It's caused some stir online, I believe, but I haven't actually seen this list yet. Yeah, so I haven't seen the entire list for sure. I only know that the top 10 I think is going to be pretty easy to guess, but yeah, definitely haven't seen the entire list. So let's go the top 100 NBA players of all time. Let's see who they put on here. Okay, and I already know that for most mainstream publications, they're not going to rank older players that high or ABA players if they're ranked at all. I generally tend to rank older players higher. I tend to treat older players' awards and stats almost the same as modern NBA players, or I don't give them that much of a, I don't rank them that much lower just because they played them in an older era. So I'm a little bit more generous to older players, and I also rank ABA players as well. I treat ABA players' awards and stats the same as NBA players, so that's definitely something I do a bit different than most people. And yeah, let's check it out here. So let's see here. So this is their list. Okay, so top 100, they have Artis Gilmore, which I'm pleasantly surprised that they have Artis Gilmore in the top 100, because honestly, most publications wouldn't even have him, because like he's just one of the most underrated players in NBA history, in my opinion. The reason is because most people don't count ABA stats and awards. I'm glad that Bleacher Report listed his ABA credentials here, though. He was an ABA champion, he's an ABA MVP, Rookie of the Year. He led the ABA in rebounding 4 times. He was 11-time All-Star, a 5-time All-ABA first team, 4-time All-ABA All-Defense first team. So yeah, all in general, he was a great player. If you're looking at ABA players, the greatest ABA players, like Dr. J is number 1, of course, but right after Dr. J would be Artis Gilmore. So yeah, I think he doesn't get enough credit or respect among modern NBA fans or analysts. So it's good just to see him on a list. Honestly, I didn't even expect Artis Gilmore on this list, but to be top 100 is, yeah, I mean, it's better than not being on the list. I would definitely have him higher, though. I put Artis Gilmore number 44, and the reason why I put him so much higher is just because I treated ABA awards and stats the same as NBA awards and stats, which I think Bleacher Report probably they didn't. Probably they put the ABA awards and stats a little bit like below the NBA stats and awards, probably is what they did. I'm glad that he's on the list, but yeah, they probably just, they didn't respect ABA awards and stats as much as NBA awards and stats, probably. Anyways, I put Artis Gilmore higher because I respect the ABA awards and stats just as much as NBA. But yeah, the dude, like, he played 18 seasons. He had incredible longevity, 19, 12, 2 blocks a game. I mean, very efficient scorer. I think he has 58% field goal percentage, so he only took like high percentage shots around the basket. He was a great rebounder, led the ABA in rebounding 4 times, 12 rebounds a game, 2 blocks a game. He was a great defender as well. Number 8 all-time in NBA field goal percentage. I think he's actually top 5 in blocks if you combine his NBA and ABA stats together, which I do. And I think if you combine them together, he actually like had 25,000 points total if you combine them together too. So yeah, Artis Gilmore deserves more respect, I think. They have him number 100, which is pretty low in my opinion, but I mean, honestly, to have him at all in a modern NBA list is good enough for me, because like most people just don't even have him on a list, which is a travesty in my opinion. He deserves a lot more respect. And by the way, he has a playoffs MVP too. So the ABA had the playoffs MVP, which is pretty much like a finals MVP, except it's for the whole playoffs. Like he had the playoffs or finals MVP as well. They didn't put that here. Yeah, so this is by a group of editors or a Bleacher Report staff. So I guess the highest that someone ranked him was 84, and the lowest was not on the list. Wow, 84 is the highest that someone ranked him. I guess people really don't have much. They really don't have much respect for ABA players. I guess if 84 was the highest, that's too bad. Oh yeah, 99 is Dave Bing. I don't actually have Dave Bing in my top 100. Yeah, I mean the reason is just because like he didn't do enough. Like he's 7-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA. He led the league in scoring. Okay, he's a great scorer. He's actually one of those prototype scoring point guards. So like I would say Oscar Robertson, Dave Bing. If you want to call Pete Maravich or Jerry West point guards sometimes, then sure. But yeah, Dave Bing is like one of those prototype scoring point guards, like way before Steph Curry and, Damian Lillard, Kyrie. Like now you have a bunch of scoring point guards. But Dave Bing was like a prototype scoring point guard all the way back in the 60s. But yeah, I didn't put him in my top 100. I have him like top 125. Just because like, okay, 7-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA. And the stats are okay, 24 and 6. It's just not quite enough to get onto my top 100, honestly. Especially because my list has ABA guys on them. Yeah, so he just didn't quite make it. But, okay, number 99. Fine. Someone had him as high as 69. Wow. Okay, Klay Thompson, number 98. Okay, I didn't have Klay Thompson in my top 100, I have to admit. The reason I don't is because the thing is, when I break down his championships and what he did in those finals, it's like, can I really say he was top 2 in a lot of those finals, or top 3? Because like the first finals, 2015, I mean the first championship, let's just go by championships. He has 4 championships, right? 2015, the second best player after Steph Curry on that team was Klay Thompson, or was it Andre Iguodala in that finals, right? Andre Iguodala did have that finals MVP. So you could argue Andre Iguodala was more valuable in that finals than Klay Thompson was. You could also argue Draymond Green was more valuable in that finals than Klay Thompson. So when I break it down, I'm like, is Klay Thompson really a top 2 or 3 player in those finals, right? In 2015, was he? I'm not sure. Like, is he ahead of Iggy and Draymond in that finals? Then 2017, 2018, you got KD, obviously, and Curry. Those are the top 2. And then Draymond, I would say right after that. 2022, yeah, Andrew Wiggins was actually the second best player after Steph Curry. And then Klay Thompson, maybe. So I could say that maybe he's top 3 for like 2 of his 4 championships. And then he's 2-time All-NBA, 5-time All-Star, 1-time All-Defensive. Yeah, it's not really enough to make my top 100, honestly. I mean, sorry, Warriors fans. But yeah, Klay didn't make my top 100. He didn't do enough, actually. I have to look at, how much they did for those championships. And honestly, I don't think he was as valuable as Draymond Green was. Yeah. Or Iggy in some case, in that first one. Because Iggy did win finals MVP. Okay, so 72 was the highest that he was ranked, okay. But yeah, I don't have Klay in my top 100, unfortunately. 97, Bernard King. Okay, another guy I don't have in my top 100. He's a great scorer, and that's about it. He's one of those scoring wings in the 1980s. There was a whole bunch of scoring wings. Like, you had Adrian Dantley, Alex English, Dominique, whole bunch of guys that were great scoring wings. Even Kiki Vandeweghe, I think, as well. Bernard King was one of the great scorers of that time. I think he averaged like 33 points a game or something at his peak. Yeah, he scored 50 at least 8 times. Pretty incredible playoff performance in 1984. I think pretty much by himself, he took like, he like carried that Knicks team to like 7 games against Larry Bird's Celtics. Pretty amazing. 4-time All-Star, 4-time All-NBA. Yeah, I mean, he's just a great scorer, but unfortunately his prime was too short. Yeah, his prime was like 4 years. Yeah, it's too short. I can't put him in the top 100 just because it's too short. But yeah, probably not top 125. Not top 100 for me. Okay, Joe Dumars, 9196. Yeah, he is the second best player on those Pistons teams after Isaiah. And I think that's he's a pretty clear number 2, I would say. Because It's not like the Klay Thompson thing where you like, is he the second best after, Curry? Well, with Dumars, he was pretty clearly the second best after Isaiah. He won a Finals MVP in 1989. It's not one of those Iggy Finals MVPs. He actually was pretty good that 1989 Finals. 3-time All-NBA, 6-time All-Star, 5-time All-Defensive. Yeah, he's great on both ends. I mean, he doesn't score quite as much as Isaiah, but I mean, he's still a pretty decent scorer and decent passer. Not quite as, obviously not as good as Isaiah on the passing end, but decent. And also a great defender. So, he was so crucial to those Pistons teams. I actually had him much higher, though. I think I had him, Joe Dumars. I had him at number 87. They have him at number 96. So, I definitely have him a bit higher. Yeah, just because I feel like Joe Dumars is a bit underrated. Isaiah tends to get the vast majority of the credit for those Pistons teams, but I think Dumars definitely deserves more credit for that, too. Wow, someone put him number 38, the highest? Okay. Now, I think Joe Dumars is underrated, but I would never put him as high as 38. Yeah, he's like 87 for me. Dave DeBusschere, number 95. I had him higher too. I had him at 77. So the reason is Dave DeBusschere is like one of those glue guys. He's like for those Knicks teams, he was like the Draymond Green, the Rodman of that team, except he was also pretty good on offense too. Like Rodman and Draymond can't really score much, but yeah, I mean, Dave DeBusschere can put up 16 points a game, 11 rebounds a game. He averages a double-double. 2-time champion, 8-time All-Star, 6-time All-Defensive. Like, yeah, this guy was like one of those glue guys, right? One of those hustle guys that you want on your team, just like Draymond and Rodman, except he actually, scores in addition to that. So, he's clearly, I think, the third best player to me on those teams. After Willis Reed and Walt Frazier, Dave DeBusschere is the next best player in those teams, and he's pretty much the reason why they won the championships, because before he got traded to the Knicks never made the finals. Once he got traded to the Knicks, they started making the finals and winning. So, someone ranked him as high as 54. Wow. Okay. Anyways, pretty underrated guy in my opinion. Bill Sharman, number 94. Okay. I have him at 89, pretty close actually. A little bit higher. Thing about Bill Sharman is that he just played too long ago. Like, first of all, he played in the 1950s. He was the second best guard of the 1950s after Bob Cousy. 4-time champion, 7-time All-Star, 7-time All-NBA, 8-time All-Star. Yeah. He's the second best guard of the 1950s. The problem is, being the second best guard of the 1950s doesn't really mean much because it was the 1950s. So like Bob Cousy would definitely like be higher. But Bill Sharman, I mean, wow. I mean, yeah, just being the second best guard in the 1950s, honestly, like it'll get you in the top 100, but yeah, I mean, this is where it gets you, right? Like you can't put him too high because he just played too long ago. Like he was a good shooter for his time, but I mean, yeah, he just played way too long ago. Someone put him as high as 51. Oh, come on. All right. Jason Tatum. Okay, this one's actually interesting. I don't have Jason Tatum on my list because I actually made my list before the Celtics won their championship last year. So I don't have Jason Tatum on my list. However, if I were to remake the list now, I'd probably put Jason Tatum around 75, 76. He'd be right on the edge of my 75. So, yeah. I think this is the first ranking video, like the first reaction video I've done to a ranking since the NBA Top 75 anniversary list got released, right? So, and the ESPN did a re-ranking of that as well, and I reacted to that. So, this is the first reaction I've done since then. The top 75, I think Jason Tatum would pretty much be on the edge of my top 75 now. But yeah, I made this list, before the Celtics won the championship last year. But he was the best player on that team. He didn't win the Finals MVP. That was Jaylen Brown, but he was still obviously the best player on that team. And the thing is, like, 6-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA, that's enough credentials already. And in addition, you're the best player on a championship team. 24, 7, and 4, pretty good stats. Yeah. Well, what can I say? Jason Tatum's on his way to becoming an all-time great, and he's already pretty much on the edge of top 75, right? As he keeps playing, he'll just go higher up the list. I think the only reason why he's 93 is just because he hasn't played enough yet. He's only played 8 seasons so far. For me, he's already like on the edge of the top 75. So yeah, he's really on his way up there. Yeah, but the guy has experienced playoff success pretty much since he was in the league. So, he's just a winner. Oh, wait, Lenny Wilkens. I don't get this one. Like, I had the same issue with the top 75 anniversary list for the NBA made. Like, they put Lenny Wilkens on there, and I was like, why? Okay, I don't get what is it about Lenny Wilkens. Okay, he's a 9-time All-Star. That's a lot. But he was never All-NBA. I get that there was Jerry West and Oscar Robertson, but never even once. He was All-NBA, not even second team. 16, 5, and 7. Okay, those are pretty respectable stats, but I think it's just the lack of an All-NBA selection here, and the fact that he's playing the 60s, right? I generally am generous to older players, but not when you don't have an All-NBA selection. And the fact is, the St. Louis Hawks is when he had the most success, and that was when Bob Pettit was the leader. When he was with the Supersonics, he was the leader, but they didn't make the playoffs. So I'm looking at that too, right? It's like when he's a leader, he didn't make the playoffs with the Supersonics, and then when they did make the playoffs and go to the finals, he wasn't the best player in those teams. I don't know. I'm really surprised someone ranked him as high as 43. Because, like, for me, Lenny Wilkens he's not top 100 for me, and he's not top 125 even. He might be, like, top 150. Like, I had a video ranking top 30 at each position, right? Which is, like 150 players. Yeah, and Lenny Wilkens was, like, the number 30 point guard, right? For me. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. Why is he in the top 100? Or why is he in the top 75? I don't get that either. So maybe maybe he's just one of those guys you had to see play or something like that. I don't get why he's ranked so high. Like, no All NBA selections. How can you be like? Yeah, I don't get it. Okay, Chauncey Billups. I had Chauncey Billups as an honorable mention. He didn't quite make my top 100 list, but he was pretty close. I think he's pretty underrated. Chauncey Billups makes every team he's on better. He does a bit of everything. He's like a miniature Chris Paul. He's like a mini CP3 in terms of impact. Like, he'll make your team a little like better. As a floor raiser, multiple time All-Star, All-NBA, All-Defensive. He'll do everything on both ends. He'll make the shots when they count. Like, he's known as being like Mr. Big Shot is his name, right? So yeah, I mean, his stats are not like really great or anything, but I think it's the intangibles, the leadership intangibles. He does have that. And then he won a Finals MVP against Shaq and Kobe, so that has to count for something. So anyways, he almost made my list, didn't quite make my top 100, but he's number 91 here. Okay, I'm okay with that. 67 though, that's definitely high. Okay, so for number 90, they had Chris Webber. I had him at 96, so pretty close, honestly. Yeah, like we're both had him in the 90s. It's close enough. Chris Webber, yeah, very, very talented player. 5-time All-NBA, 5-time All-Star, led the league in rebounding. Almost averaged a double-double, pretty much. 21 and 9.8. So he almost averaged like 20 and 10 for his career. Also, really great passer for his size. Like, he's a power forward, right? And 4.2 assists per game as a power forward. He was one of the best passing big men I've ever seen. So, yeah, what can I say? Chris Webber, sometimes I feel like he's underrated. He should be mentioned more in the greatest power forwards discussion. Sometimes he isn't, but I know it's because he had his career was kind of cut short from injuries and everything. But when he was healthy and in his prime, like, wow. I mean, all around incredibly talented, great player in his prime. So, yeah, Chris Webber. Definitely, I think when you're talking about, healthy power forward in their prime at the time, I think Chris Webber was probably right up there with, at the time was probably with KG. Right up there with KG, honestly. Oh my God, Earl Monroe. This is another one I don't get. Like, just like with Lenny Wilkens, okay? Earl Monroe would probably, again, maybe make my top 150, not top 100. And at 89, like, I don't get it. Like, I just looking at his accolades and stats, right? It's like, okay, he won a championship with the Knicks. He wasn't a top 3 player for the Knicks on that championship team. It was Walt Frazier, Willis Reed, who won Finals MVP, and Dave DeBusschere. He was like the 4th best player in that team. 4-time All-Star, 1-time All-NBA, 19, 3, and 4. Okay, What's special about him that he gets 89? I really don't get it. Is it because he's flashy? Like, I know he's like kind of a flashy player, but if someone had him as high as 63, why? Like, I don't get what's with the Earl Monroe thing. Like, he was in the top 75 as well that the NBA made, the anniversary top 75 list, but I don't really get it. I don't get the Lenny Wilkens or Earl Monroe thing. I think they were, personally, I think they were two of the weakest players on that NBA top 75 list, okay? And I love my old players, but these guys, I mean, yeah, I don't get it. Like, he wasn't a top 3 player in that championship team. One-time All-NBA. His stats are just okay. I don't get it. Draymond Green, 88. I have him at 79. Okay, I'm a little bit higher. Thing about Draymond Green is I honestly think he was a top 3 player for almost all his championship. Maybe not for 2022, but for for the first 3, I think he was like a top 3 player. Also, being one of the greatest defensive players of his era. Defensive Player of the Year and 9-time All-Defensive. He's like the Rodman of his era, right? Or the Bobby Jones of his era, if you want to go back to that. Yeah. I know his stats don't look that good, but it's like... But the thing about stats is like, okay, he's just not really much of a scorer. But he does everything. Like, he'll give you a bit of scoring, and then not too much of it, but he'll give you a bit of scoring. But he's also a great rebounder, and honestly, he's a great passer too. Like, even though Steph Curry's the point guard for the Warriors, I think that Draymond actually is a better passer than Curry on a lot of those teams. So, yeah, he was like almost the main facilitator of the offense at times, and plus the main defensive anchor of the Warriors team. So, yeah, I don't believe this thing. The latter got him suspended in 2016 finals and cost Golden State. I think that if he wasn't suspended, LeBron still would have won. Like, LeBron scored 41 with him and without him. Like, what would have mattered? Like, if Draymond was there, I don't think Draymond would have been able to stop LeBron no matter what. So I don't believe that if he wasn't suspended, the Cavs would still win, I think. Wow, someone had him as high as 43. That's crazy. But yeah, Draymond Green, that's fine. Having this, I had him actually even higher because I felt like he was such a crucial part of those Warriors championship teams. He was like a top 3 player on all those. On pretty much, the top, at least the first 3 championship teams, he was the top 3 player on those in terms of impact. Alonzo Mourning, 87. I think I had Alonzo Mourning as an honorable mention. Didn't quite make my top 100. Yeah. But this championship is not really one that should count because he was like a bench player off of that. And he wasn't like a bench player contributing many minutes either. So I don't really count this championship as much. 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, yes. I think he's only 2-time All-Defense because like Hakeem and David Robinson was like there at the time, and then they got most of the All-Defensive selections. Not really his fault. And Dikembe Mutombo too. Like, you had so many great defenders in the 90s that were big men. So you had Dikembe Mutombo, Hakeem Olajuwon, and David Robinson. Like, they're all competing with all defensive selections. And Mourning is just not as good as them in terms of that. But he's still a great defender, right? It's just not as good as Hakeem Robinson or Mutombo, which, is not much of a hit on him because those are all-time great defenders. 7-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, block champion. Okay. Yeah, he almost made my top 100. Didn't quite make it. Just because, you need a little bit more All-NBA and All-Defensive selections, man. I know it's not his fault, necessarily, because he was competing with so many great big men in the 90s, but, yeah, I mean, it is what it is, right? I think he needs a little bit more accolades. But, okay, they put him at 87. I'm surprised someone had him as high as 61. That's definitely overrating him. Tony Parker. I had Tony Parker pretty high, 69. I felt like he should have been top 75, honestly. But hey, like, they put him 86, okay. I felt like he should have been top 75, honestly. Like, 4-time champion, 4-time All-NBA, 6-time All-Star and Finals MVP. Like, he won 4 rings, and he was like a top 3 player for all of them. And then he was Finals MVP. So, like, yeah. Someone put him as high as 61. Okay. Yeah. what else is there? Like I just think that Tony Parker is a bit underrated at times. He probably should be in that top 75 list, but if Bleacher Reports puts him outside of that, okay. It's just because probably because Tim Duncan is like the one that really gets so much of the spotlight in that team. But Tony Parker was the second best player for a lot of those championships. The last one was Kawhi Leonard, obviously, but Tony Parker was like the second best player for like what, three of those championship teams? I guess Manu could have been the 2005 one. So okay, maybe two out of that four, but still, I mean, he was a crucial contributor to all those championship teams. So anyways, he definitely should be top 100 no matter what. Sam Jones. I had Sam Jones right after Tony Parker. So I guess in terms of who we had them after, I have him right after Tony Parker, but they had him like 85, probably because he played a long time ago. But I mean, he's a 10-time champion, 5-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA. Dude was a 10-time champion. Like, and it's like with Sam Jones, when you go back and look at those games, Sam Jones was so crucial to like a lot of those championships because he was so clutch. Yeah. Sam Jones is like incredibly clutch. Yeah, his infamous clutch sheen. I mean, that Celtics team has so many clutch players. Russell, Sam Jones, John Havlicek, so many clutch players. But yeah, Sam Jones made some incredibly clutch shots in those playoff runs. That's why, the crucial part of those championship runs, because if he didn't make a lot of those clutch shots, they wouldn't have won, obviously. So yeah, I do think Sam Jones was a big part of those championship teams. So yeah, on 85. I guess just because he played a long time ago. And then Russell just gets most of the credit for those teams, but he was like, if you want to talk about like in terms of being like the star power, okay, Russell, Bob Cousy in the early part, and then John Havlicek for the later part, and then he was probably Sam Jones was like right after those two, right? So you're talking about like, okay, he's right after Bob Cousy, right after John Havlicek. Yeah, I mean top three for pretty much. Or Tom Heisen, I guess. Yeah, Tom Heisen was actually a big factor in a lot of those early ones too. But anyways, I think Sam Jones was definitely a top 3 player for 7 of those championships. Adrian Dantley, I put him. They have him 84. I put Adrian Dantley pretty high, 67. So I had him higher too, just because the guy was insanely efficient as a wing scorer. Like, okay, first of all, 24 points per game. That's a lot. 6 rebounds, but 54% field goal percentage as a mid-range scorer. That's pretty impressive. Yeah, 2 scoring titles as well. I mean, sure, you could say the only thing he did was basically just score, but man, was he ever an efficient scorer? Like, wow, 54%. And he was really close to winning a championship too. He was with the 88 Pistons, almost won a championship because 88 Pistons almost won a championship, right? They went to 7 games against the Lakers. And he was a leading scorer on that team, too. Some people might not know that. It wasn't Isaiah. It was Adrian Dantley. Someone had him as high as 47. Wow. I'm surprised by that. But yeah, I feel like he's underrated sometimes as a scorer. Like, this guy is like a super efficient mid-range scorer and 24 points per game and 2 scoring titles. I mean, if you think about it, right, this guy was way more efficient than Kobe ever was, and has the same amount of scoring titles as Kobe, and is like almost averages as much as Kobe does. So, anyways, Jimmy Butler. Okay, I don't have Jimmy Butler on my list. I think he came pretty close to making my top 100, but he didn't. Yeah, so he's another one of those guys is just outside of my top 100. But I guess with Jimmy Butler, it's kind of hard to rank because he's so much better in the playoffs than he is in the regular season. So, like, just his regular season stats are not that great. I mean, 6-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA, 5-time All-Defensive. Okay, those are pretty good. But then I think you got to put the playoffs into consideration if you want to rank him this high. And that makes sense to me, I guess, if you put the playoff stuff in there. Wow, someone had him as high as 61. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. He's a great two-way player. Regular season wise, I don't think he would be on anyone's top 100, but like playoffs wise, he just takes it up to another notch, right? And then he carried 2 teams to the finals, so that has to matter. Yeah, I guess it makes sense, although I personally didn't have Jimmy Butler on my top 100. Maybe I should, but he didn't quite make it for me. Bob Lanier, okay, they had him 82. I didn't have Bob Lanier in my top 100 either. He was like another one that was just right outside in my top 125 probably. Probably closer to the top 100 than it is to the top 125. But yeah, the issue with Bob Lanier is that his stats look really good. He averaged 20 and 10 for his entire career. Also very efficient, 8-time All-Star. Well, no championships and no All-NBA selections kind of got him here. Yeah, that's basically why. If they want to put him 82, okay, at least it makes sense that he's ahead of Dave Bing. I always thought that he was better than Dave Bing on those teams. They played together. I always thought, like, why did the NBA Top 75 list put Dave Bing on it, but not Bob Lanier? You know, Bob Lanier was the better player for those teams. I'm surprised someone put him as high as 52. That's crazy high to me. You always have someone who, like, really, like, you have basically someone that overrates them and someone who underrates them, basically, for all these players. Yeah, like, he didn't, no championships and no All-NBA. That's why he didn't make my list. But, I mean, his stats are pretty gaudy. Yeah, and he didn't have enough playoff success, so that's another reason. But yeah, I can get behind him if you just look at the stats. Sure, 20 and 10 for a career is pretty good. Dikembe Mutombo. Okay, I had Dikembe Mutombo 94. Okay, I had him lower, and I don't know. I guess they had him higher because like Defensive Player of the Year, 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. But then I had Ben Wallace a little bit even lower than that. Rudy Gobert was on my list too. I guess they don't have Ben Wallace or Rudy Gobert on their list if they're going to put Mutombo already. Okay, well, 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, 3-time All-NBA, 8-time All-Star, 6-time All-Defense. He didn't win a championship, but yeah, he's pretty much one of the greatest defenders ever. So I guess that has to count for something. Almost averaged a double-double. So yeah, he's just one of the greatest defensive players ever. He's second in all-time blocks. I'm surprised someone would rank him as high as 63, but yeah, that's all I can say is that he was 94 for me because his offense is very limited. He was basically all defense, just like, you know, Dennis Rodman and a few other guys. Ben Wallace, you know, was like that too. Yeah, basically he was all defense. All defense guys tend to rank a little bit lower than all offense guys. Yeah, because it's not as flashy. But yeah, 81, okay. They ranked him pretty decently high, actually. Yeah, because he was a great defender, one of the all-time ones. Ooh, Tiny Archibald. I did not have Tiny Archibald on my list either. He was probably 125 for me, top 125. I didn't have him on my top 100. So, 6-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA. He did win a championship with the Celtics, won a scoring title and an assist title, 18, 2, and 7. Like, his stats are good, decent accolades as well. It's just when you compare that stuff to, you know, the guys I had in my top 100, he just didn't quite make it. So, yeah, someone had him as high as 52. Wow. No, I didn't have him on my top 100. Like, Tiny Archibald, I don't know. The thing is just, okay, he was a top 3 player for this 1981 championship, I think. It was like Larry Bird and Robert Parrish was there. Kevin McHale was off the bench. I think Tiny Archibald was like, yeah, probably top 3 player in that team. But yeah, it's just not exactly enough, I guess, to make my list. So anyways, yeah, it is good. I can guess why you put him in top 100, but I wouldn't put him as high as 80. And yeah, it just he just didn't do quite enough for me to make the top 100. I'm also surprised to put Grant Hill in the top 100. I did not have Grant Hill in my top 100. Grant Hill did not have enough of a, like, he's another one of those guys like Bernard King that got his career shortened from injury, right? Like, he played 18 seasons, sure, but like his prime was basically like done after 2000. So his Pistons prime was basically, that was great. But then after that, it was just like role player. So yeah, 5-time All-NBA, 7-time All-Star, 17, 6, and 4. All around good stats on offense. He's a great player on offense, like very polished and talented. Man, someone put him as high as 54. I'm always surprised that people overrate these guys so much. There's always one guy that overrates them. Yeah, okay. All these guys, like, honestly, like, it's crazy. The Artis Gilmore is 100, and I would have Artis Gilmore ahead of all these guys easily. But anyways, Okay, Grant Hill, I did not put on my list because honestly his prime was too short, just like with Bernard King. But okay, they've had him at number 79. Paul George, who did make my list at 97. So he appears quite a bit higher in BR, actually. Like, yeah, 20 spots higher almost. 6-time All-NBA, 9-time All-Star, 4-time All-Defensive, 26 and 4, okay. Paul George, look, lowest ranking 95. That's pretty much similar to where I have him. Yeah, I mean, he is a top 100 player. Like, for me, he's barely top 100. He's a good player. Like, the thing is, I wouldn't consider him, like, ever a top 3 player in the league. But, okay, maybe you can consider him a top 5 best player in the league, but never, like, top 3. So he was always, like, very, very good, but never, like, wow, this guy is, like, MVP level good. Like, never that level, right? So that's where I put him, you know? Like, he's like Chris Webber. He's one of those guys that's very, very good, but never, like, MVP level good. You know what I mean? Pete Maravich, oh no. Another guy I feel like is kind of overrated. I didn't put Pete Maravich in my top 100, honestly. Like, the reason is because, like, he doesn't have much playoff success. That's the thing. Like, he has good stats. 24, 4, and 5. He's a great scorer. 4-time All-NBA, 5-time All-Star. Decent accolades and one scoring title. Yeah, I don't know. Like, someone put him, like, as high as 67, and even the guys who underrate him would put him 95. Like, even that, so nobody had him outside the top 100. Like, I don't have Pete Maravich in my top 100. The thing is, like, yeah, okay, his stats and everything look good, but if you look at his playoff performances, like, he just doesn't have enough of them, right? If you have a guy with such limited playoff performances, honestly, I can't put him in my top 100. You got to have, like, more playoff performances. And his playoff success is very, very limited for me to put him in my top 100. And it's not really a particularly efficient player either. So that's another thing to note. So anyways, I feel like Pete Maravich is a bit overrated. Just like I feel like with Earl Monroe, Lenny Wilkins, Pete Maravich, so they get a bit overrated. Alex English. I did not have him in my... Actually, I did. I had 98. Oh, he was barely in my top 100. Okay. So they put Alex English higher, 76. 3-time All-NBA, 8-time All-Star, won a scoring title. He's like the Carmelo Anthony of the 80s. I mean, down to the fact that he plays for the Nuggets. Like, yeah, he was just a scorer. That's really it. He's like Carmelo Anthony. He's a scorer. It's just he was the Melo of the 80s. Yeah, just scored a bunch of points. That's all he did. Also in a Nuggets uniform. Wow. Someone put him as high as 62. Yeah, I don't put him this high, though, because to me, he was just a scorer. That's all he was. He was a great scorer, very consistent, but just a scorer. Manu Ginobili is 75. Wow. I don't have Manu Ginobili this high, or I don't have him in my top 100 either, actually, because, well, he doesn't have enough accolades or stats. And I know he came off the bench. Like, that's why his stats and his accolades don't look like that good. Like, 2-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, 13 points a game. Like, his stats and his accolades don't look like much. I know he won 4 championships with the Spurs, obviously. But the thing is, yeah, I know it may be unfair to him because he came off the bench for this. That's why. But I just looked at the stats and I looked at his accolades, and okay, it wasn't really enough for me to put him in my top 100. But yeah, I understand. Like, if you just want to talk about potential, yeah, Manu Ginobili, when he was actually playing, yeah, he was a very talented player. Like, he was as good as any of the starting shooting guards in the league. But yeah, that's the thing. It's like, you come off the bench most of your career, then your stats and accolades are gonna take a blow, and that matters to me. Someone ranked him as high as 42. That's crazy. Dave Cowens at 74. I had Dave Cowens at 55. Wow, I had him much higher. They put him only 74. Wow. So he's a 2-time champion, 1-time MVP, 3-time All-NBA, 8-time All-Star, 3-time All-Defense. almost 14 rebounds a game. He's an incredible rebounder. Yeah, I don't get what's the disrespect with Dave Cowens, dude. I know someone put him as high as 53. That's where I would put him too. But lowest is unranked. How the heck is Dave Cowens not a top 100 player? Someone put him outside of the top 100. Like, to me, he's way better than Pete Maravich. Pete Maravich was on the what? Pete Maravich never, like, the lowest guy still had him in the top 100, right? Dave Cowens is way better than Pete Maravich, man. Like, second, look, a top 2 player on two. Well, actually, not. I shouldn't say that. JoJo White won the Finals MVP. Okay, let's say this. He was a top 2 player for his first championship. Top 3 player for the second championship team. He did win MVP because he was the kind of the anchor of that Celtics team in terms of, yeah, just being the center that kind of did everything. I know John Havlicek was pretty much the offensive leader, but Cowens was there. Like, just his rebounding is incredible, and he did a bit of everything. And he didn't actually average 2.1 assists per game. I think this is wrong. He actually averaged 3.8, if I'm not mistaken. He actually averaged 3.8 assists per game. I think the stats is wrong for that. Yeah, he's a much better passer than this. These stats indicate. This is wrong. I'm pretty sure he's 3.8 assists a game, not 2.1. He was actually a pretty good passer for his size. Yeah, I mean, this guy was a big time hustle dude, right? If you're talking about like Dave DeBusschere, like this guy was like a better Dave DeBusschere in some ways. I mean, he's pretty close, not like that much better, but still, he's better than Dave DeBusschere, and he won MVP. I mean, I don't know why they rank him so much. The disrespect towards Dave Cowens, man, I don't understand. Charles Barkley will have some issues with that. He likes Dave Cowens. He's like the only other guy. Everyone else disrespects him. Hal Greer, how about 91? They have him at 73. Okay. I guess it could be because he's 7-time All-NBA. That's something, right? Like 7-time All-NBA is quite a bit. Yeah. And mostly second team. 19, 5, and 4. Yeah, this guy's like kind of a low-key, really good scorer. Like he played for the 76ers his entire career, I think. He's like the all-time scorer for the 76ers. He's like low-key. Yeah, low-key the best scorer for the 76ers. So someone put him as high as 46. Wow, that's pretty crazy. But I put him in the 90s just because, like, okay, he has a championship as a top 3 player. That was the 67 76ers. His accolades are good. His stats are okay. Honestly, it's just like there's guys that, you know, have better stats, honestly. But I know that 7-time All-NBA is quite a bit, so maybe that's why they put him so high. Okay, Paul Arizin, 72. I think I had Paul Arizin 51 here. I had him quite a bit higher. Yeah. 4-time All-NBA, 10-time All-Star, 2 scoring titles. 23, 9, and 2. Yep, I had him quite a bit higher. Probably because, like, he did win a championship as the main player. Like, I'm talking about, like, him and Neil Johnston, right? Like, yeah, he should have won a Finals MVP if they existed back then. He was the main player for that Warriors team. So he would have had a Finals MVP if they existed. He was like the main player of that Warriors team that won the championship. So anyways, I had him higher. They had him 72, probably because he played a long time ago. He played in the 50s. But yeah, I would say that after Mikan, Pettit, and Shays, he's like and Kuzi, he's like the 5th best player of the 50s. Yeah. The other 4 are like Mikan, Kuzi, Pettit, and Shays. Yeah, so he was like the 5th best player. But someone had him as high as 32. Wow. Okay, I never would have put him that high. Who put him as high as 32? That's crazy. Oh, man, Chris Bosh. Okay, I do have Chris Bosh as an honorable mention, though. It's not like I didn't have him close to the top 100. I did, but I just don't have him this high. 71. Wow. No, he didn't make quite my top 100 because, like, the thing is with Chris Bosh, like, when he was the main player for the Raptors, he never got past the first round, and that was in the weaker conference. That was in the East, right? And then when he played for Miami, okay, so LeBron basically got him the 2 championships. 11-time All-Star, 1-time. The 1-time All-NBA really hurts him too. Like Amari Stoudemire had 5, right? Amari Stoudemire in betting is not on this list. He's not even in the Hall of Fame, honestly, which is kind of sad. But yeah, Amari Stoudemire was better than him, honestly, than in some years, because he had Amari Stoudemire, a 5-time All-NBA, right? And he's not in the Hall of Fame, and he's probably not going to be on this list. But Chris Bosh, 1-time All-NBA, he's in the Hall of Fame, and he's on this list. What's the difference? Well, the championships, right? So it's just that Bosh got to play with LeBron. So he won these 2 championships, and then he gets pushed up into the Hall of Fame. Honestly, like, okay, being the 3rd best player for 2 championship teams, and then you're one-time All-NBA, your stats are just okay for a Hall of Famer. I don't know. Like, that's barely top 100 to me. Yeah, I wouldn't put him top 100, but what? Someone put him as high as 37? That's unbelievable. Who puts Chris Bosh the 37th best player of all time? That's insane. No, like, the fact that he couldn't get past the first round in the East when he was the main player really hurts him. The fact that he couldn't get past the first round without LeBron is really an issue for me, I think. Wes Unseld at 70. I have Wes Unseld 73, pretty close, actually. Yeah, I think in the 70s is probably where Wes Unseld belongs. One of those intangible guys. You can't just tell how good he is from the stats, even though he's really good at rebounding and passing for a big man. So 14 rebounds a game is quite a bit. 4 assists per game is really good for a center. He's a really good passer for a center. Yep, championship MVP, finals MVP. He's got that trifecta. Yeah, I wouldn't put him as high as 56, but he's definitely top 100. I don't know who didn't even put him in the top 100. He's definitely top 100. I wouldn't put him 56 though. But yeah, I think 70 is fine. I had him pretty close. I think this is where Wes Unseld belongs. Yeah, I think he's pretty much here. Yeah, just a really good intangibles player, leadership abilities, glue guy, hustle player, that kind of thing. Kyrie Irving. Ooh, I have Kyrie Irving 90. They have him at 69. Wow. Okay, the thing about Kyrie is 1-time All-NBA second team, 0-time All-NBA first team. So basically, the reason why I have Kyrie lower is because, okay, he's got a bunch of All-Star selections. Yes, he's the 2nd best player for a championship team, but he needs more All-NBA selections. Like, 2 of these All-NBA selections are 3rd team, which I don't really count that much because 3rd team didn't really exist before the 80s. So, yeah, he's only 1-time All-NBA second team, so that's kind of an issue for me. Great scoring point guard, though. He's a great scoring point guard. He's got great handles. Everyone knows that. A great ISO player, but yeah, I would not put him 69. And 85, I can maybe agree with. I would definitely not put him 36. That's way overrating him. Yeah, I think that's too high for Kyrie. Robert Parrish at 68. I think I had Robert Parrish at 81. I had him lower. 4-time champion, 9-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA. Well, the thing about these championships is that he was always the 3rd best player, I think, for these championship teams. Like, even the one with the Warriors, because I think Jamal Wilkes was the 2nd best player for that. So, the 4 championships, he was like the 3rd best player for all of them. So, he has like a Chris Bosh thing going on, where he was like, not the 1st or 2nd best player. 2-time All-NBA, 14-9. His stats are just... yeah, his stats are okay. Not like really impressive or anything like that. Yeah. I think it's just his lackluster stats. The fact that he doesn't have that many All-NBA selections. The fact that he wasn't top 2 on any of his championship teams. And 100 is probably a bit too low, but also 41 is way too high. And 68 is a little bit high for him, I think. Yeah, I have him like 81, but yeah. It's just for me, those were the issues, the All-NBA and the fact that he was the 3rd best for those championships. Dennis Rodman at 67. I had Dennis Rodman at 76. I had him a bit lower. Yeah, 5-time champion, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, 8-time All-Defense, 7 rebounding titles. Everyone knows Dennis Rodman is one of the greatest rebounders and defensive players ever. Very one-dimensional type of guy because, yeah, he's not really a scorer. He's not really a passer. literally the thing that he does is just rebounding and defense. So yeah, how do you rank a guy like this? I don't know. I think somewhere around here is okay. 76, 67. Okay, I can understand that. Just have him somewhere here, but 32 is way too high because Dennis Rodman was always kind of a role player guy. He was never the alpha dog or even the beta dog. He was always a role player. Just a really, really good role player. Just like Draymond Green. He's like Draymond Green, Bobby Jones. I actually am not sure. Is Bobby Jones even on this list? He should be. Yeah, like Draymond Green, Bobby Jones, Dave DeBusschere. Actually, I wouldn't even say Dave DeBusschere is a role player. He's actually kind of a star. Never mind. Yeah, basically like Draymond Green and Bobby Jones, basically. He's like a super role player. But yeah, having him as high as 32 is crazy. And not having him top 100 is also crazy. So I think both of these are also crazy. I think 67 is fine. Joel Embiid at 66. I have Joel Embiid 57. So I'm a bit higher. By the way, I don't think SGA is on this list because I think Bleacher Report, they made this list before the OKC won the championship this year. So if you were to make it now, then SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander would be on this list. Probably around this spot, I would say for me. I think they would probably have him below Tatum though, given how they had Tatum like, yeah, probably like around Tatum's level is probably where they would have it. But for me, if I were to redo this list now, yeah, I would have Tatum around 75, 76, 77, and I would have SGA around this level, 57, 58, 59, around this level. But yeah, they have 66 Joel Embiid. I have him at 57. Yeah, Joel Embiid, he's MVP, All-NBA, 2-time scoring champion, 3-time All-Defense. His stats are actually really insane. 28, 11, and 4 is incredible. Great stats for his career. He's got all the accolades too. The only thing is that he doesn't have the playoff success. That's really the only thing that's missing is his durability and the playoff success. Yeah, I mean, someone had him as high as 37, which I would never agree with. But I also think, yeah, he should be top 100, so I don't agree with both of those either. Definitely he should be top 100. He should not be as high as 37. I think 66 is fine. Like, it's just his stats are so good. He's got all the accolades. He just doesn't have the durability or playoff success. Oh, wow, Vince Carter. I don't have Vince Carter in my top 100, honestly. They have him on top 100. Probably, if you value totals, I understand. But I also value peaks as well, and Vince Carter does not have the peaks to get into my top 100. He's like, what, top 125 maybe? 2-time All-NBA is going to be an issue for him. That's why he didn't really get into my list. Like, 2-time All-NBA is not enough, honestly. 17-4-4, played 22 seasons though. So, yeah, I can understand if you like, okay, you're looking at this guy, he played 22 seasons. That's a lot. But also he didn't really have the peaks for me. I'm actually kind of surprised, like, nobody had him outside of 87. Okay. I don't know. I don't have him top 100 for me. He just didn't have the peaks. He didn't have the prime. His prime was just okay. Like his prime was really decent, but it was nothing like a Bernard King type prime or anything like that. And I don't have Bernard King on my list either. Right? He's kind of like an opposite example. He had the prime, but he didn't have the longevity. Vince Carter has longevity, but he doesn't have the prime. So, yeah. Damian Lillard, 64. That's pretty high. I have Damian Lillard at 86. I'm lower. Damian Lillard's stats look really good. 25, 5, and 7 is really good. 9-time All-Star, 7-time All-NBA is pretty good. The thing about Damian Lillard is he has probably the same thing Joel Embiid has, which is that he doesn't have enough playoff success. So, really, that's the only thing. He has the stats. He has the All-NBA selections, but he just doesn't have the playoff success to get him higher for me. But I'm kind of surprised I have him 64. Who had him 53? That's pretty high. Okay, James Worthy. I had James Worthy 74. They have him 63. Okay. So keep in mind they don't have guys like Roger Brown and Mel Daniels and Connie Hawkins and Spencer Haywood. They don't have any of those guys on this. And Dan Issel probably. They don't have them either. Because those guys are like, well, if you're going to have Artis Gilmore at 100, you're probably not going to have those guys on the list either. yeah, just the ABA stats and awards are just not respected as much by most people, unfortunately. Anyways, James Worthy, 3 championships, a Finals MVP, 2-time All-NBA, 7-time All-Star. Yeah, I think James Worthy, like, I wouldn't have him this high. The reason why I have him barely I'm barely in the top 75 is because, like, okay, I get he's like valuable for these 2 championship teams, like the second or third best player for them. He's a Finals MVP. He just doesn't have the All NBA selections or the stats. You know, that's the issues. And I know his stats were suppressed because he played with Magic and Kareem, but yeah, like, if you're making a list like this, it matters, right? Like, your stats do matter when you're making a list like this, and all NBA selections do matter. It kind of shows, you know, how good you are in your era. Whoa, someone had him as high as 28. That's really overrating him. Okay, someone had him as high as 28. That's crazy. And someone had him not even in the top 100. Okay, he's definitely a top 100 player, but he's definitely not as high as 28 either. So for me, yeah, okay, you can put him 60s or 70s or even 80s, and I think that's fine. But I personally would not put him this high, just because, like, his stats are just not like that good. I know it's not his fault necessarily, but yeah, it is what it is. Like, he was the third wheel, and then yeah, not enough All NBA selections. Paul Gasol 62. I had Paul Gasol 71. I had him a bit lower, but it's okay. I mean, I can understand it. Paul Gasol is a really underrated player because of all the Kobe fans out there that want to diminish him. So it's unfortunate. He is a really good player, though. Like 17.93. His stats don't look great or anything like that. They look like Bosch's stats. But the thing about him compared with Bosch is that he actually was a second option, right, for those championship teams. Bosch was the third option. He was the second option, and he showed up in the playoffs. Like, Bosch does... Like, with Bosch was with the Heat, he kind of just, like, disappeared sometimes in the playoffs. That's why it's not like he elevated his game or anything. Gasol actually elevated his game in the playoffs. And then, yeah, he had a lot of those great games with the Lakers. You know, it really helped save Kobe a lot of those times. So, yeah, I do think, like, 2009 versus Rockets, Game 7, 2010 Finals, Game 7, versus the Jazz in 2010, Game 4. Those are all examples, but... yeah, Gasol has moments in the playoffs, which Bosch does not. And he's underrated because, honestly, all these Kobe fans think that he wasn't that good, which is unfortunate because he's not a scrub. The dude he's a Hall of Famer. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I wouldn't have him as high as 42, but I think in the 60s or 70s is fine for Paul Gasol. Yeah, this is probably where he belongs. Bob McAdoo, 61. I have Bob McAdoo, let's see here, 59. Pretty close. This is actually the closest. 59, 61. Yeah, we have him pretty close here. Yep. This is really where he belongs because, like, okay, he was a bench player for 2 championship teams. He was an MVP. Kind of in a weak era, I would say, because the ABA was going on. Okay, just 2-time All-NBA. He doesn't have enough All-NBA selections, honestly. 3-time scoring champion. His stats are pretty good, actually, considering he played part of his career on the bench. Like, in his prime, his stats were actually monstrous in his prime. So, the dude was averaging like 30 and 10. Yeah, his peak was dominant. He averaged 30 and 10 for 3 seasons with the Buffalo Braves. So his stats was actually pretty monstrous with that. So yeah, he has a really good prime. His longevity was okay. So, anyways, this is probably where he belongs. Yeah. Someone didn't have him in the top 100? That's crazy. Carmelo Anthony at 60? Really? Okay, I have Carmelo Anthony at 95. I know that, the thing is, I think Carmelo Anthony is being overrated here. Yeah, like, 60? That's really high. So, I don't really count third team All-NBA selections as much, but the guy was, like... he was never first team All-NBA. He was like second team All-NBA like 2 times. That was it. The rest are like third team All-NBAs. Because he was never as good as LeBron or KD, right? And then 10-time All-Star scoring title. He's just a really good scorer. That's it. I actually don't know why he's so high, because his career is honestly like the same as Alex English. I don't get it. He has, yeah, okay, he has more longevity than Alex English does by a few seasons, but he's like the same player as Alex English. I don't get why he's so high. He's like a scorer. That's it. What else? What else is there to Melo's game? He's literally just a scorer, and he reached the Western Conference Finals, but he never reached the finals. So, yeah, I don't get it. And I would never have him as high as 46. That's insane. He's pretty overrated in my opinion. Oh, T-Mac, 59. I have him 84. I also think that T-Mac's a bit overrated too. I would not have him as high as 59. So, okay, 7-time All-NBA, 2-time scoring champion. His stats look lower because he was injured for a lot of his career. Yeah, I don't know why he's this high. The guy never got past the first round in his prime when he was healthy. And I know he didn't have the team, but you mean he was in the East. So, and he was in the weak East. I don't know, man. I mean, T-Mac, yeah, he never got past the first round in the weak East. It's not like it's the West or something. That's why the Bosch versus Gasol comparison is different. Because, okay, Gasol didn't get past the first round before Kobe, but he was in the West. Kobe didn't get past the first round until he got Gasol, right? So it's like neither Kobe or Gasol got past the first round until like Gasol went to the Lakers. So that's fine, I think, for Gasol. But Bosch didn't get past the first round in the East. That's different. Tracy McGrady didn't get past the first round in the East. You know, you should be getting past the first round in the weaker conference. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I wouldn't have him this high. I would have him, yeah, like pretty much similar to like Damian Lillard, basically. I don't know why he's this much higher than Damian Lillard, but okay. Someone had him as high as 34. Insane. Willis Reed at 58. I had Willis Reed at 47. I had my higher, maybe just because I value the awards a bit more. Yeah, his stats are. I mean, he's a great rebounder. That's just because of his era too, though. Because his era had a lot more possessions for rebounding. A lot more opportunities for rebounding. But yeah, like 1913, pretty decent scorer in the low post, of course, and great rebounder. The thing is, his awards should really place him higher, but I guess people don't value Willis Reed's awards as much. Like the guy's 2-time champion, 1-time MVP, 2-time Finals MVP. And he's a pretty decent defender. He's a 1-time All-Defense and 5-time All-NBA. He should be higher. Like, if you're going to value MVPs and championships and Finals MVPs, like, why isn't he higher, right? Someone had him as low as 92. I don't understand that. 43, I understand, if you value the accolades, but 92? Okay. Luka Doncic at 57. I had him, where did I put Luka? Here. Oh, okay, I had Luka around... Wait, did I have Luka? I think, yeah, I did, right? It was 64, okay. I'm at 64. Okay, yeah, I'm 57, so pretty close, I think. Within 10 spots of each other. 5-time All-NBA, 1 scoring title, 5-time All-Star. Yeah, the thing about Luka is that he's going to be an all-time great, and he already is, but he's just going to continue being an all-time great. The only reason why he's this low is because he just doesn't have longevity enough. Like, he's only played 7 seasons, but his stats and his accolades are already piling up, right? So he's played 7 seasons, 5-time All-NBA. He's got a scoring title. He averages 29, 8, and 8. 29, like 28, 8, and 8 for a career is insane. Those are insane stats. Like, that's like even better than LeBron's stats, right? So that's pretty crazy. Yeah. Basically, the only reason he's this low is because of longevity. But as he keeps playing, he's going to move up higher, obviously. Like, he's got the stats, he's got the awards. He's made a finals. Like, yeah, he'll keep improving, especially if he wins a championship in the future, which is a good bet. I think that he will. All right, Dolph Schayes, 56. I had Dolph Schayes at 49. A bit higher, but pretty close. 12-time All-NBA is the reason why Dolph Schayes would rank so high. That's no joke. 12-time All-NBA is no joke. This is all first and second teams, no third teams back then. He was playing in the 50s. So that's all. 12-time All-NBA first and second team is no joke. And then he averaged 18 and 12, which is okay for his career. But yeah, I think it's mostly the fact that he won a championship as the main player. He won it as part of the Syracuse Nationals, and then 12-time All NBA, which is just, yeah, that's a lot. So that's why Dolph Schayes is so high. And someone ranked him 90 probably because he played in the 50s, but I think this is probably okay. Bill Walton at 55. Wow. I know he's a tricky player to rank. I had him 72. He's a tricky player to rank. MVP, Finals MVP, 2-time All-NBA. The thing about Bill Walton is that he did this all in basically just 2.5 seasons. So that's pretty insane to think about. Like, the guy was healthy for like less than 3 seasons of his career. And he got all this. 2 championships, an MVP, a Finals MVP, 2 All-NBA, all-defensive rebounding title. Like, all within like 3 seasons, basically, which is incredible. He's hard to rank. Because it's like he has like next to no longevity, but he's incredible prime. So incredibly short prime. So I don't know. 34 is his highest, 82 is his lowest. Yeah, it's hard to rank Bill Walton, man. He has such an incredible prime, but it's just so short, and his durability is like nothing. So I don't know. Hard player to rank. Reggie Miller at 54. What? I don't have Reggie Miller at all on my list. Yeah. I don't have Reggie Miller because he has... Okay, the 3-time All-NBA is All-NBA third team. It's not All-NBA first or second. They're All-NBA third team. So basically it's 0 All-NBA first and second team selections. And his stats are 18, 3, and 3. So there's like nothing eye-popping here. 5-time All-Star, okay? Nothing eye-popping. So I know Reggie Miller gets a lot of credit for the shooting and then the Pacers like being successful. But no, I would not have him top 100. I'm so surprised that someone had him as high as 44 and as low as 76. Like, no one thought like he wasn't lower than 76. The guy is no All-NBA first and second team selections. I don't get it. Like, he would be, okay, top 125 maybe for me, but not top 100 for me. So I'm pretty astounded that people would put him so high. No, I would not put Reggie Miller at 54. I wouldn't even put him in the top 100. I'm really surprised he's this high. Gary Payton at 53. I think I had him 50. It's pretty close. Yeah. So this championship he's coming off the bench, so it's worth a little bit less. He's got Defensive Player of the Year, 9-time All-NBA, 9-time All-Defensive. He is one of the greatest defensive point guards. Actually, just one of the all-time greatest defensive guards, period. 16, 4, and 7. Yeah, I mean, this is really where he belongs. Okay? He's a great two-way player. That's all I can say. Just a great two-way player, especially for a guard. One of the greatest defensive guards. Yeah, 50. I don't know who would have him as low as 83, but I think that's fine. Dwight Howard at 52, I think is okay. I had him at 45. Yeah, he's this championship he was not really starter level player. I mean, this was when he was old, playing with LeBron, so doesn't really count too much. 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, though. 8-time All-NBA, 5-time All-Defense, 5-time Rebound Champion. Yeah, that matters. Plus, he took a team to the finals. 16 and 12. He's a great rebounder. One of the best rebounders for his era. Also one of the best defensive players for his era. So yeah, Dwight Howard. Pretty close to top 50, I would say. It's really a big head scratcher why the NBA did not have him in the 75 anniversary list, because he really should have belonged in it. But yeah, I honestly think he's closer to the top 50 than he is to the top 75. Yeah. Yeah, see, like everyone had him top 75 basically. That's where he belongs. And he's honestly closer to top 50. Ray Allen at 51. That's pretty high. I had Ray Allen at 85. So they really put Ray Allen high. 2-time champion. We have to consider that Ray Allen, for the first championship, is different than the second one. The first championship, he was a top 3 player. Second one, he's coming off the bench for the Heat. So that's a bit different. 1-time All-NBA, that hurts him in my ranking. His stats are just okay, too. So his stats kind of hurt him, too. So for me, the reason why he ranks this like only 85 is because, yeah, he's only 1-time All-NBA, which hurts him. And then, yeah, his stats are not really like eye-popping or anything like that. They had him pretty high, 51. I would not have him that high. I'm surprised that even like the lowest they had him was 63. Wow. Yeah, I think he's a little bit overrated here for sure. Dominique Wilkins at 50, Adam 66, Adam lower. 7-time All-NBA, 9-time All-Star, 1 scoring title. His stats are really good, 25 points per game almost. Great scorer, very athletic, very flashy. But the thing is, he didn't have much playoff success. He actually never even made a finals. So just like, actually I don't think he even made a Western Conference Finals. Or Eastern Conference Finals, actually. He didn't make it a conference finals. So, yeah, I don't think he even made a conference finals, unfortunately. So, that really hurts him, in my opinion. So, anyways, I have him right beside Adrian Dantley and Billy Cunningham. Do they have Billy Cunningham on this list? But, yeah, I had him beside Dantley. I think they had him a bit higher. But for me, the fact that he never reached the conference finals really hurts him. Paul Pierce, 49. I'm 62. Yeah, so Paul Pierce, yeah, he won Finals MVP, right? Beating Kobe in the finals. He's really only 1-time All-NBA, I believe, or 2. This is a mostly third team. So you got to say all NBAs are not created equal. So he's mostly third team All-NBA. 10-time All-Star, 25-4. Yep, he's got his stats are okay. He was actually a really good scorer in his prime though. Yeah, he was the best player for the championship team because he won the Finals MVP. Although you could say KG was arguably better, but okay, let's say top 2. And yeah, they put him top 50. Okay, I'm actually okay with this. I think Paul Pierce is yeah, he's a really good. He's like pretty close to my top 10 small forwards of all time. So I'm okay with this. Yeah. I put him a bit lower, but if they want to put him a bit higher, because he did have a pretty good prime, and he is pretty good in the playoffs. Like he does have clutch shots and stuff. He has clutch moments, so he has playoff moments. That's good. Russell Westbrook at 48. I have Russell Westbrook at 41. So yeah, pretty close. MVP, 9-time All-NBA, 3-time assist champion, 2-time scoring champion. Westbrook is a triple-double machine, right? 21, 7, and 8. So yeah. Pretty much, he's all stats, I would say. Yeah. This is pretty much where he belongs, I think. The thing about Westbrook is that he's so hard to... It's hard to win a championship with him because he's so, like, heliocentric. He pretty much just dominates the ball. But yeah, like... it's pretty much like he's like a stat monster, so you got to put him somewhere, right? If you care about your triple-doubles, you got to put him somewhere, so... I think he's in top 50. Elvin Hayes. This is pretty much where I have him, right? Now, Elvin Hayes, 46. Wow. Pretty close. 1 spot off, 47 and 46. Elvin Hayes, yeah. Underrated, I think, in some ways, but I think this is where he belongs. He won a championship as arguably the best player. I think Wes Unseld won the Finals MVP, but he was arguably, he was a way better scorer than Wes Unseld was on that Bullets team. 6-time All-NBA. He's a great defensive player as well. Great rebounder. So really, Elvin Hayes is known for his rebounding, 12.5 rebounds a game for 16 seasons. His scoring, which he actually led the league in scoring before, and also his longevity, his durability. So he's got all of that. And the unfortunate thing about Elvin Hayes is I think that because he played in the 70s, he's become a bit forgotten over time. So that's pretty much why he ranks lower. If he played in a more modern era, had these stats and awards, he would definitely be ranked higher. Kevin McHale, I had him for 54. They had him 46. Pretty close. 3-time champion with the Celtics. 2 of them coming off the bench, I think. 7-time All-Star, 1-time All-NBA. Also great defender, too. And then his stats don't look that great because he came off the bench for like half his career. So, yeah, I think Kevin McHale, this is good for him. Like, yeah, he's probably around the top 50, like somewhere around the top 50. Yeah, he's really on the edge of it. I'm surprised someone had him as high as 29. I mean, wow. Elvin Hayes, like, I'm surprised someone had him as low as 79. That's crazy. But, because, yeah, Kevin McHale, like, I think they're pretty close, like Elvin Hayes, Kevin McHale. But the thing is, like, someone had him as high as 30. It's crazy. I wouldn't have him that high. But I think that's pretty much where he belongs. I mean, obviously, Kevin McHale's a great player, and he's known as one of the greatest for post moves, right? In the post, he's known as one of the greatest post moves masters ever. So, along with Hakeem. So, yep. The only thing is that he doesn't have any much All NBA selections. I think he would need more. And 2 of his championships, he's coming off the bench. So, that's the only thing about him. Anthony Davis, 45. I have Anthony Davis, AD at 52. So, pretty close, I guess. AD's won a championship. Top 2 player on the Lakers, of course. When he won that, 5-time All-NBA, 10-time All-Star. He's a two-way player, great two-way player. He's a great offensive and defensive player. Averages a 24 and 10 for his career, which is really good. So yeah, I think that's pretty much where he belongs. What can I say? He's a very talented player. Great on both ends of the court. Yeah. The only thing is that he hasn't won as exactly the alpha dog, I would say. If he wins as the alpha dog, he would be ranked higher. But because he's got durability issues as well, so he has injury issues, and the fact that he hasn't won as like the actual alpha dog, I think that's what kind of hurts him. But I think this is where he belongs. He's still top 50 for me. George Mikan, 44. I have George Mikan. This is a really hard player to rank. I had George Mikan at 36. He's hard to rank though, because he played in such an early era, and he dominated that era. Like, you're talking about the early 50s, right? Early 50s, he dominated. 5-time champion, 3 scoring titles, 23 and 13, which are incredible stats for that era. Yeah, really hard to rank him. I think that's why you have such a huge difference. Look at this. 10 is the highest ranking, and 81 is the lowest. Look at how big that difference is. It's so hard to rank George Mikan, right? I think 44 is okay. He's somewhere in the top 50. I just don't know where. But yeah, where do you rank a player that played before the shot clock, but he dominated it so much? Like, he's like the combined Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain of his era, but he played in the early 50s. So like, so hard to rank this guy, right? Like, he just dominated, but in such an early era. Hard to rank. Walt Frazier, I'm 35. They have him 43, but they had him right after Mikan, just like me. Okay. 2-time champion, arguably better than Willis Reed for those 2 championships, but he didn't win the Finals MVP. 6-time All-NBA, 7-time All-Defensive. So he's a great two-way guard. I would say he was like kind of like almost like a Gary Payton of the era, except that yeah. I think the 2 are pretty close. So he won championships, that's the difference as a top 2 player. So yeah, he was basically like Gary Payton of the era for the Knicks, like a great two-way point guard. Except he won championships as a top 2 player for those teams, and then had an incredible Game 7 in the 1970 Finals. So, anyways, that's why his ranking is, I think, fine at that 43. But someone had him as low as 77. I don't get that. There's no way he should be that low. George Gervin at 42. I had him pretty close. 40 is where I had him. Pretty close. If you add up his ABA awards and stats together as well, then yeah, I think he might be a little bit higher. But 4 scoring titles, 7-time All-NBA. Yeah, 25 points a game. Definitely one of the greatest scorers of his era. And you could call him just a scorer, just like Dominique Wilkins, but at least he made a conference finals. Yeah. And the fact that he's won 4 scoring titles, not just 1. Dominique won 1, he won 4. So Gervin is a better scorer than Wilkins to me. He's a little bit more dominant as a scorer. Even though he is just a scorer, he's a one-dimensional player, but he was just so good at it, right? I wouldn't have him as high as 28, but I wouldn't have him as low as 85. That's kind of crazy to me. So yeah, I think 42 is fine. That's pretty close to where I have him. Rick Barry. I had Rick Barry higher at 26. I think this is a bit low for Rick Barry, and that's probably because I'm including the ABA stuff too, and they aren't. So yeah, he won a championship for the Warriors, of course, Finals MVP, All-NBA, 12-time All-Star, 2 scoring titles. Actually, they counted the ABA one. And 25, 7, and 5. Really great stats, actually. So Rick Barry, personally, one of the most underrated players, I think. To me, he's like a top 30 player. Like, on offense, he's just one of the most dominant offensive players ever. Like, I think he averages like 36 points a game in the finals. He has the highest career finals points per game ever, even higher than Jordan. And also really great passer for his position. He was one of the first like point forwards, I guess you can call it. Yeah, he was one of the first point forwards. So anyways, I can't believe someone would have him as low as 76. That's insane. There's no way he's that low. Like, to me, he's top 30. The guy had incredible playoff moments too. He raises his average to 27 points a game in the playoffs. That tells you what he's about, right? Okay. Number 40, Patrick Ewing. I have Patrick Ewing lower at 56. Okay. But they have him higher. 7-time All-NBA, 3-time All-Defense. Like, he's a great two-way player. The thing is, he just wasn't as good as Hakeem Olajuwon or David Robinson. But he's like, right after them. So I think it's just, he just played in the era when there was so many good bigs. Yeah. Like, he was a great defender, just not quite as good as these three, as Robinson, Olajuwon, or Mutombo. And he's a great offensive player, too. He just wasn't as good as Robinson or Olajuwon. So it's just like, I think it's just the era he played in. That's if he played in a different era, he'd probably be higher. He probably would have dominated it more, but... 40. I mean, he's right outside my top 50, but I could see the argument for him being top 50. And there's people that are like, oh, Willis Reed is better, or Willis Reed is not as good. I have Willis Reed higher. I think it's pretty close between Willis Reed and Patrick Ewing, but clearly Bleacher thinks that Ewing is better, even though he doesn't have the accolades. But you could say that Ewing is a better player than Willis Reed. Just Willis Reed has the awards, He doesn't have a championship. So, yeah. Anyways, I don't think he's as low as 80. I don't know who is crazy enough to put Patrick Ewing number 80, but he's not 80. Clyde Drexler, 39. That's pretty high. I had Clyde Drexler, 63. So, let's see. 10-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA. Actually, only 3 of those, I think, are first or second team. 26 and 6. So they think that Clyde Drexler's underrated. I think so, but I wouldn't put him this high. I know they led like 2 Blazers teams to the finals, but man, number 39, really? I would probably put him closer to like on the edge of the top 50 than at a top 40 player. But yeah, okay. Someone had him as high as 27. Wow. I don't know. I think that the issue with Clyde Drexler is... yeah, he just needs a bit more All-NBA selections, and he didn't win a championship until he teamed up with Hakeem. But he's still like he's like top 60 for me, still like around top 60. But yeah, he wasn't higher because honestly, I needed more All-NBA selections or like, some other thing, like either higher stats or more awards or something. He just didn't have more for me. But I guess they put him pretty high. Bob Pettit, 38. I had him higher. I had Bob Pettit at, let's see, 23. Okay, I had him higher. Because, I value the awards and MVPs and stuff all the same. So, he's a one-time champion. Actually, he should have a finals MVP if they existed back then. Because he clearly was the best player for the Hawks team. Only player to beat Bill Russell in the finals. 2-time MVP. And 11-time All-NBA. That's quite a bit. 2 scoring titles. And his stats are 26, 16, and 3. Yes, that's pretty crazy. 16 rebounds a game and 26 points a game. Like, his stats are really good. I was telling many people, I don't know why people put Elgin Baylor ahead of Bob Pettit. And I'm sure this Bleacher Report did as well, but I don't know why. Bob Pettit was better than Elgin Baylor, in my opinion. Like, Elgin Baylor has the athleticism, but look at his stats, 26 and 16. They played in the same era. He has better stats than Elgin Baylor, to me. And also his accolades. He's got 2 MVPs. Elgin Baylor's none. And then they played in the same era, so I don't know. Also won 2 scoring titles. Elgin Baylor didn't win any. So, I don't know. To me, like, yeah, Bob Pettit should be higher. What? Lowest top... So someone did not even have Bob Pettit in the top 100? You're kidding me. How is someone with a championship, 2 MVP, and 11-time All-NBA who averages 26 and 16 not in the top 100? That's ridiculous. I don't know who is... Somebody did not have him in the top 100. That's ridiculous. The only thing is that he didn't play enough. He only played 11 seasons. But man, he has the accolades and he has the stats, okay? Bob Cousy at 37. Okay, I had Bob Cousy at 37. Exactly the same ranking. Wow. Yeah, I guess this is where I had Mike in higher than Bob Cousy. They had Mike in lower. But 6 championships, an MVP, 12-time All-NBA, 8 assist titles. That all matters. 18, 5, and 7. That's pretty good for his era. He's the best guard of the 1950s, the best guard of his era. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty much where it's hard to rank him because it's like, look at this. 22 is his highest, 85 is the lowest. It's hard to rank these guys from the 50s because it's like okay, so Bob Cousy's like George Mikan, you know, he has so many championships and he dominated his era, but then it's like he played in the 50s, so you know, how are you going to rank him? Yeah, I guess that's why you see a big difference here, but I think this is okay. I had exactly the same ranking for him. Allen Iverson at 36. I had Allen Iverson at 42, pretty close. He's an MVP, 11-time All-Star, 7-time All-NBA, 4-time scoring champion, 27, 4, and 6. Incredible scorer, I would say. The fact that he did it, like he was a small point guard, a small shooting guard, and doing that is incredible. Look at this difference, though. 21 and 78. What a gap. Wow. I think this is okay for me. I would have him a little bit lower, but it's okay. Yeah, because Allen Iverson is one of those guys where it's like he's not an efficient player or anything like that, but damn, did he score a lot of points. And like his playoff scoring, he goes up to 29 points per game, which is crazy, right? Yeah, it's actually incredible how many points he scored being his size. That's really impressive. And of course the 2001 finals too. Steve Nash, I have him lower at 43. He's 2-time MVP, 7-time All-NBA, 5 assist titles. But it's fairly close. His stats aren't great. It's like 14.3 and 8.5. Of course, he's a great passer. He's one of the greatest passers. I think the issue with Steve Nash is that he didn't score enough. He should have scored more. He should have shot more. I think Steve Nash himself would have said that. That's the real issue with him. He has the awards. It's just his scoring stats are not that good. Yeah, and of course the defense side as well. He's not as good of a defender. He's actually really below average defender. So the defense side and the scoring side is the issues for him. But otherwise, he has everything else. He has like the efficiency. He has the All-NBA, the MVP. He doesn't have the titles. That's the other thing. Yeah, he didn't make a finals. So it would always be like he didn't make a finals. His scoring's not that good, and he's not, a good defender. But I'm surprised someone would have him as high as 18 or as low as 73. That's a really big gap too. Wow. James Harden at 34. I have James Harden at 38. Pretty close. So MVP, 3-time scoring champion, 2-time assist champion, 24, 5, and 7. Pretty good stats all around. Like James Harden, one of the greatest scorers of his era. I think him and KD, LeBron, obviously, Curry, like these are all the top scorers of their of that era, right? For James Harden though, I think sometimes the scoring gets pretty underrated. It's like people don't like the way he scores, but when he was in his prime, man, he was like a walking bucket, basically. So, yeah, I mean, he didn't make a finals, so that's something that's against him. He's also not a good defender, but unlike Steve Nash, he has all the stats. So he has the scoring stats, and he has the passing stats too, because he can also be a PG. So, yeah, I'm surprised someone would have him as... Look at this gap again. I'm surprised someone would have him as high as 24 and as low as 89. I think this is the right place to have him, though, because, like somewhere in the 30s or 40s is probably where I have him. Like, he's definitely top 50, I think. Jason Kidd. I would definitely have him higher than Steve Nash, so I think they made the right choice here, and higher than Harden. I had him higher than both. Yep, he's a champion, although he wasn't like... He was like out of his prime at that time with the Mavs. 6-time All-NBA, 9-time All-Defense, 5 assist titles. His scoring isn't that great because he wasn't really a scorer, but he was kind of like a triple-double threat, and he kind of did everything on the court. Almost like Chris Paul, I would say. Not quite as good of a scorer as Chris Paul is, but otherwise, he was a better triple-double threat than Chris Paul, though, because he was a better rebounder. And his passing is great, obviously an all-time passer. So the thing about Jason Kidd, why is he higher than Steve Nash? Well, because he won a championship, and also he's a great defender, and also he's a great rebounder. In addition to being like, really the only thing Steve Nash has over him is the MVPs and the shooting. That's about it. In every other way, I'd probably take Jason Kidd over Steve Nash. And yeah, he's higher than Harden too because, well, like he plays both sides of the ball. He's not as obviously not as great as Harden at scoring, but the fact that he does so much on the court other than scoring, you know, I think that's why he's ranked so high and why he's an all-time great point guard. Kawhi, very hard player to rank. I had him at 39. They have him 32. He's like Bill Walton in a way, you know. He's a hard player to rank because he's hardly ever healthy, but when he's healthy, he's like dominant. So yeah, it's hard to rank him. He's like 2-time champion, 2-time Finals MVP, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. Like when he's healthy, like when he was with the Raptors, right? That 2019 Raptors run was one of the greatest playoff runs I've ever seen a player have, and he played like both sides of the ball. He was clutch. Like one of the greatest playoff runs I've seen was Kawhi's 2019 run. But at the same time, it's like, that's what he does when he's healthy. But at the same time, it's like his availability is the issue, right? So, yeah, that's why you see a kind of a big gap here as well, 28 and 67. It's like, where do you rank Kawhi Leonard? Like, at his peak, he's one of the greatest, just like probably right after LeBron, if you want to talk about a guy that impacts the court in so many ways. But man, like his durability is such a big issue, right? When is he ever healthy enough to play? So that's the issue. It's hard to rank Kawhi Leonard, but okay, they put him here. John Havlicek at 31. I put him higher. I put Havlicek at 22. So, I mean, Havlicek's pretty underrated, right? He doesn't get talked about enough, but 8-time champion. And this is not all because of Bill Russell either. Like, he was actually the leader for 2 of these. And then he was the second best player for another 2. 1968 and 69, he was the leading scorer on those 2 championship teams for the Russell. And then he was the captain for another 2. So like half of those championships, he was not like just a bench player. The other half, he was a bench player. But yeah, half his championships, he was a top 2 player on the team. And then the other half, he was a bench player. So anyways, Havlicek deserves a bit more respect. Finals MVP as well, 11-time All-NBA, 8-time All-Defensive. So he plays both sides of the court, 21, 6, and 5, pretty well-rounded stats. I mean, yeah, I think John Havlicek is like a top 25 player to me. But sure, like he's close to top 30 for BR, but who has him as low as 91? Are you insane? Who would have Havlicek as low as 91? Oh my god. I really question, like, who is on this BR staff? Who has John Havlicek as low as 91? That's insane. The guy's an 8-time champion, 11-time All-NBA. What the hell, dude? And 8-time All-Defensive. Like, he plays both sides of the court, 21, 6, and 5, and is 8-0 in the finals. One of the few players to have better finals record than Michael Jordan. And you have 91. How? I don't get it. Chris Paul at 30. I have Chris Paul at 30. Exactly the same rank. Wow. So yeah, Chris Paul, 11-time All-NBA, 9-time All-Defensive, 5 assist titles, 17, 4, and 9. Yeah, Chris Paul is definitely a top 5 point guard for me. He's like, if you took John Stockton and you made him a better scorer, then you get Chris Paul, basically. I have him higher than John Stockton, but pretty close. But yeah, I think of him as just a better John Stockton. Yeah, and now he's made a finals, so you can't even say that he didn't make a finals. He made a finals in 2021, so yeah, I just can't believe someone ranked him as low as 73. That's ridiculous. Look at this gap. Who ranks Chris Paul 73? What the hell? Okay, John Stockton right after him. Yeah, I have John Stockton and Chris Paul right beside each other. They're pretty close. John Stockton has more longevity, but his peak isn't as great as Chris Paul is. Chris Paul has the better peak. If you were to take prime for prime, Chris Paul is better. John Stockton has the longevity and durability, of course. That's why he's the all-time leader in assists and steals. But yeah, I would say prime for prime, Chris Paul is a better player. He's a better scorer. He's got better playoff moments. Just John Stockton has the longevity. But yeah, they're pretty much right beside each other. And look, another big gap, 18 and 76. Holy crap. Scottie Pippen, 28. I'm 32, pretty close. Six-time champion, second best player, of course, for all those six championships. Seven-time All-NBA, 10-time All-Defensive. One of the greatest defensive wing, one of the greatest wing defenders of all time. So yeah, he's it's hard to find a better help defender on the perimeter than Scottie Pippen. He was just he's a pretty good offensive player, I guess. Not as obviously not as good as Jordan, but decent offensive player. But it's his is all around Swiss Army knife type of abilities, right? He's kind of like John Havlicek in that sense, right? I think I compared the two in a video before, but he's kind of like John Havlicek in a sense. He does a bit of everything on the court. Not quite as clutch as John Havlicek is, and offensively he isn't as good as John Havlicek is, but defensively, yes, he's there, and he has a decent offense too. Someone put him as high as 18, wow, and as low as 51. But I think this is okay to have him top 30. I had him close to top 30. Isaiah at 27, I had him 33, so I had him right beside Scottie Pippen and John Stockton, Chris Paul as well, so we all had around the same area, I guess. So he's a two-time champion, Finals MVP, five-time All-NBA, 1949, of course, one of the greatest point guards. Everyone knows Isaiah, the leader of the Bad Boy Pistons, right, led them to championships. He gets a lot of credit for leading those two championships, and I think that's why Joe Dumars gets a little bit disrespected, but yeah, he gets the majority of the credit there. I don't know why they call him the overlooked greatest of all time point guard. I think that would actually be Walt Frazier. I think Walt Frazier is a lot more underrated than Isaiah Thomas is. If you look at it, Isaiah and Walt Frazier are pretty similar accolades and stats. I have them pretty close to each other, right? They're both two-time champions, and yeah, they both average 19 points a game. Walt Frazier is a much better defender. Well, I wouldn't say much better, but I mean, Isaiah doesn't have all defensive, right? Walt Frazier is like, he has 7-time all defensive selections. Isaiah doesn't have any. And I think Walt Frazier and Isaiah is pretty close, but why is Isaiah always ranked ahead of Walt Frazier? I don't get it. I think they're pretty close. But anyways, I think Isaiah gets his flowers. He gets a lot of credit for those Pistons teams. Okay, here's the thing. Elgin Baylor, 26. I had Elgin Baylor, 27. So pretty similar. But the thing is, like I said, I think Bob Pettit's a better player than Elgin Baylor. I'm just going to say it. They played in the same era. But Elgin Baylor, okay, he averages 27, 14, and 4. Those are really good stats. Pretty monstrous stats, actually. But Bob Pettit had those stats, too. Bob Pettit averaged 26, 16, and 3. So he also had the monster stats. And Elgin Baylor, 10-time All-NBA. Okay, Bob Pettit, 11-time All-NBA. Also, Bob Pettit won a championship. Also, Bob Pettit has 2 MVP awards. Also, Bob Pettit led the league in scoring twice. Elgin Baylor doesn't have any of that, and they played in the same era. So I think, for some reason, I don't know, maybe it's because of his flashiness, his athleticism, the fact that he plays above the rim, probably. That's why Elgin Baylor gets ranked ahead of Bob Pettit. But for me, Pettit is higher than Elgin Baylor. I'm not saying anything bad about Elgin Baylor, though. He's still like a top 30 player, which he is on both our lists, right? They're pretty close. Of course, he's a great player, all-time great. Like he's got monster stats, right? Incredible scorer, incredible rebounder. But yeah, I'm just making my case that I thought Bob Pettit was better. Okay, Charles Barkley. Did they say Elgin Baylor was the best player not to win a championship? Okay, I thought they said something like that. Yeah, arguably the best player without a championship, but then they have Charles Barkley right after him. Huh, that's funny that they would say that. Obviously, they think Charles Barkley is the best player not to win a championship then. Actually, no, Karl Malone, technically, because he's not... Yeah, he'll be later on this list. Okay, well, Charles Barkley, I have 28, they have 25, pretty close. MVP, 11-time All-NBA, 22, 12, and 4. Well, what can you say about Charles Barkley? He's definitely a top 30 player. Yeah, he is one of the greatest players to never win a championship. Same thing as Elgin Baylor. Great scorer in his prime, great rebounder, great passer for his size. One of the great all-time, passing power forwards. I just can't believe someone ranked him as low as 74. Who are these crazy people working at Bleacher Report? Come on, someone tell me. Who ranks Charles Barkley number 74? Come on. Ridiculous. Okay, Giannis right after Barkley. Okay, so Giannis I had at number 20. They have him up in 24. Pretty close. So Giannis, championship, 2-time MVP, Finals MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, All-NBA. Yeah, what can you say? He's on his way to becoming the second best power forward of all time, right after Tim Duncan, because he does it all. I mean, he's a great scorer, pretty much unstoppable, great rebounder. He's actually a really good passer for his size too in his position, because he's great at passing out of the pivot, and he's also a great defensive player. And he's also had an all-time performance in the finals. He actually averaged like 35 points per game in the finals. So that's pretty incredible. So he pretty much has it all. It's just he just plays a few more seasons more, and he's ready to play 12 seasons. But if he plays a few more seasons, yeah, he'll easily surpass Karl Malone and Kevin Garnett, I think. Yeah. Dwayne Wade, 23. I had Dwayne Wade lower. I had Dwayne Wade at 29, but still within the top 30, of course. 3-time champion, Finals MVP, 8-time All-NBA, 3-time All-Defense, 22, 5, and 5. Yeah, I mean, Dwayne Wade, really, really great prime in his peak. I would say he's better than Kobe, in my opinion. He's better than Kobe in his prime because he led the Heat to he led the Heat to a championship in 2006, like being the clear best player on that team, and had an all-time great Finals performance, and is a great defender too. So, yeah, great scorer, great defender. The only thing about Wade is his durability wasn't as good. But in his peak, in his prime, I think he was better than Kobe, in my opinion. Karl Malone, 22. I have 19, pretty close. They had him higher than Barkley, as did I. Because, like, the Malone versus Barkley discussion is just, like, peak versus longevity and durability. But the fact that Karl Malone has 2 MVPs and Barkley has 1, 14-time All-NBA, Barkley's 11, 4-time All-Defense, Barkley has 0. So I think this thing also tilts it in Karl Malone's favor as well. Neither of them have a championship, but I mean, Karl Malone just has more accolades. He also has arguably better stats in many areas. So like 25 points per game, he was a better scorer. Not as good of a rebounder, not as good of a passer, but yeah, I would say, let's say like stats-wise is a wash between Karl Malone and Barkley, but accolades, I mean, Karl Malone takes it, and he played 19 seasons. He's just like the definition of durable. So, yeah, I think it's he's pretty much like top 20 or on the edge of it. I think that's fine. I just can't believe who is working at Bleacher Report, guys. Who ranks Karl Malone number 72 all time? Are you crazy? How the hell is Karl Malone number 72 all time? My God. Okay, Moses Malone. I had him 17. They had him 21. Pretty close. Champion, 3-time MVP, Finals MVP, 6 rebounding titles. Also a pretty good defender too. And Karl Malone is also a pretty good defender. I think they're kind of underrated. People don't know. Both of these Malones are actually pretty solid defenders. 20 and 12. Played 21 seasons. Actually had pretty good durability as well. Yeah, I put Moses Malone higher than Karl Malone too. Although they're pretty close, but I always put Moses higher. So Moses, 3-time MVP, you got to put him pretty close. They had him outside of the top 20. I would put Moses inside the top 20. I mean, he's a 3-time MVP. And he's also one of the greatest rebounders in NBA history. So, yeah, I mean, I would personally have him in the top 20. He had a dominant performance in the 1983, the whole playoff run, actually. So, yeah, I mean, to me, he's like top 20. But anyways, they had him pretty close. Dr. J, I had Dr. J number 12. They had him 20. That's pretty low, actually. But maybe they don't count the ABA awards and stats as much. But if you put his ABA awards and championships and stuff together, he's a 3-time champion, 4-time MVP, 16-time All-Star, 12-time All-NBA and ABA, and he has All-Defense too. And he averages 24, 8, and 4. So, like, that's a pretty incredible stat line and pretty incredible accolades. If you put his accolades all together, he's, I think, easily top 15. But maybe they don't put they don't count the ABA stuff as much. But I think he's easily top 15 if you put his ABA stuff together. And he actually scored over 30,000 points if you add his ABA stuff together too. So I don't know. I would put him ahead of KD if you put his ABA stuff there. David Robinson, 19. I have David Robinson, 24. Pretty close. I have him just outside the top 20, but they have him inside the top 20. So 2-time champion, both. I know, first time he's the second best player. The second time he's actually a bench player. MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, 10-time All-NBA, 8-time All-Defense. And he won a scoring title. And he averages a double-double, 20 and 10. Yeah, what can I say? David Robinson. He has absolutely one of the greatest regular season players. He's like the Wilt of his era, basically. A great regular season player, great scorer, great defender. The problem is in the playoffs, he's just not quite as good in the playoffs. So that kind of hurts his case. But because he's so good in the regular season, I can see why he gets ranked so high because we know the analytics love him. He's really the type of player you have if you like. He won't get you a championship, but if you have a second guy, then yeah, I mean, great second guy, right? That's what Tim Duncan had. Dirk Nowitzki at 18. I had him lower. I had Dirk Nowitzki at 25. One-time champion, Finals MVP and MVP, 12-time All-NBA. I think Dirk gets a little bit overrated for the 2011 run. I know that's a great run, but that's basically what his career relies on. It's just that run. The thing is, he's a great scorer. In the playoffs, he just ups his scoring average. He's a great playoff player because he ups his average to like 25 points a game. He always shows up in the big moments. Well, not always, but he did have some choking moments too, like 2006 finals and 2007. But in general, he overall does raise his averages usually in the playoffs, especially 2011. But I would not have him this high. I would not have him above. I would not have him. I should have him pretty close to David Robinson. I would not have him above Dr. J. I would not have him above Moses Malone or Karl Malone. Yeah, the thing is, Dirk Nowitzki, he doesn't play defense, so he has none of the all defensive stuff, and really his all his like career stuff, his accolades and his legend comes from the 2011 run. If not for that, yeah, he'd be a lot lower. So it really is. He gets overrated a bit from the 2011 run. If you take out 2011 from his resume, he's like, like not even close to this ranking, right? So he really gets overrated from just that 1 year. So I don't have him quite as high. Nikola Jokic, yeah. I have Nikola Jokic pretty close, 18. I think wherever you want to put Jokic, he's pretty close to Moses Malone because he's also a 3-time MVP and 1-time Finals MVP. And the difference is that Moses Malone is a really great rebounder and also a pretty solid defender. And Nikola Jokic does more on offense. So that's really the difference between the two, which I think cancels each other out. So I would have Moses Malone and Nikola Jokic right beside each other. Moses is the better defender and rebounder, but Jokic does more on the offensive end. Like, in addition to being a great scorer, he's also a great rebounder and a great passer. The best passing big man of all time, right, in many people's opinion. So he's a walking triple-double threat. So, yeah. Anyways, yeah, Nikola Jokic, I think is definitely, top 20 now. KG, which I'm actually surprised. 21. I have 21. They have 16. I'm surprised they have KG ahead of all these guys. Actually, I think KG is a great player, but I would not have him ahead of Jokic or Moses. Anyways, he's a 1-time champion, MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, 9-time All-NBA, 12-time All-Defense, 18, 10, 4. Pretty good all-around player, I would say. He's a solid offensive player, not a great offensive player, but a solid offensive player. Like, yeah, he's a solid scorer, not really great, but solid. Great rebounder, and also great passer for his position and size, and also great defender. So yeah, what can I say? KG is a great all-around player. I just think that given a few more seasons, Giannis is going to surpass him because Giannis pretty much is like KG. Does all the things, but also is a better scorer than KG is. So, yeah. Jerry West at 15. I have him at 14. So I think we're going to switch Jerry West and Oscar Robertson around, which I kind of expected. Usually, if you look at the publications and mainstream rankings, they usually put Oscar ahead of West. I do not. I'll talk about this, but the reason why I put West ahead is because he's made a lot more finals than Oscar Robertson has, and he has the defensive side of things. So, yeah, he's also a better scorer. But, yeah, Jerry West, what can I say? One of my favorite players, Finals MVP, only one on the losing team. He's also a great defender, obviously a great scorer, 27 points a game. Probably an underrated rebounder, 6 rebounds a game. And also he plays PG, too, so he can pass the ball, too. So what can I say? Jerry West, he made 9 NBA Finals, and pretty much he's one of the best NBA Finals one of the best playoff performers, one of the best NBA Finals performers. He raises his average to like 29 points per game in the playoffs. Yeah, he only won 1 championship, but like that's because he got unlucky, and like Sam Jones and John Havlicek and Bill Russell are just so clutch, even more clutch compared to Lakers. Because look, West is clutch, but I mean, the Celtics had like 3 clutch guys. So yeah, you got like 1 clutch guy versus 3 clutch guys. Like Baylor wasn't clutch. So yeah. Anyways, they have Oscar Robertson 14 out of 15. We switched West and Oscar Robertson because, in my opinion, the reason why I have Oscar lower, they have Oscar higher, maybe because of his stats and his impact and his triple doubles, but I have Oscar a bit lower, just 1 spot lower. They're pretty close. Oscar is the better overall. You can say he's the better overall player in terms of production, but the thing is, West made way more NBA Finals. He made Oscar Robertson made what, 2 NBA Finals? West made 9, and okay, Oscar won MVP. West won Finals MVP, but West is a much better defender than Robertson is. And they both won championships as probably the second, one of the top 2 guys on the team. So that kind of evens out. West is a better playoff scorer and a regular season scorer than Oscar is. So Oscar is pretty good at scoring, but in the playoffs, he kind of drops down a bit. But then West always raises his game in the playoffs. So I think especially when you look at the playoffs, West comes up on top. And also West is a better shooter than Oscar Robertson is. So anyways, I put West a little bit ahead. They're both pretty close, though. They have KD at 13. I have KD at 16. Pretty close. Yeah, 2-time champion, MVP, Finals MVP, 4-time scoring champion, 27-7-4. Well, I think everyone knows KD by now, right? Just one of the greatest scorers of all time. Raises his game in the playoffs, actually. He raises it to like 29 points per game. His 2 championships he won, of course, with the Warriors. I mean, how could he not win those, right? That team was super stacked. Yeah, I think this is okay. I mean, you got to have KD in the top 20 somewhere, right? Yeah, he's just one of the best scorers ever, and it's so hard to stop him. So yeah, the only thing about KD is that he hasn't really won as the main alpha dog type player, because I don't think he has that in him. He doesn't have the leadership intangibles in him. That's the only real knock on him, I think. But yeah, otherwise, and also I guess he could be better at defense too. But otherwise, yeah, he's just, when it comes to scoring, it's pretty hard to top him. Hakeem at 12. I had Hakeem at 10. Pretty close, but I had Hakeem higher. I mean, you got to have Hakeem somewhere in the top 15, right? 2-time champion, 1-time MVP, 2-time Finals MVP, Defensive Player of the Year. Yeah, 22, 11, and 2. The thing about Hakeem is that, I think you can even put him in the top 10, which I do. Hakeem probably achieved the most with the least amount of help in NBA history. Like, he won two championships. Like, the best help he had was, old Clyde Drexler for the second one. And then for the first one, he had Otis Thorpe. And then he also made a finals in 1986 against the Boston Celtics. And he took them to 6 games, with his second best player being Ralph Sampson. So, like, he barely had any help throughout his career, and he still won 2 championships and 2 finals MVPs. That's pretty incredible. Also, his incredible playoff run, 1995, where he went through Barkley, Robinson, Malone, and Shaq. That was pretty incredible, averaging like 33 points a game. He's incredible both on the offensive and defensive end. He's one of the greatest defenders ever, and he's got the dream shake on the offense. So he's overall such a complete player. The only thing I think that why Hakeem's not in the top 10 is because he needs more championships. That's really about it. He really has everything else, right? He has the stats, he has the talent, but he was just lacking the championships, I think. Kobe at 11. Okay, I think this is the one that everyone got angered about because there's so many Kobe fans online, right? I had him at number 9. I had him higher. I had him in the top 10, even though people might consider me like a Kobe hater. But no, I have Kobe in the top 10. That's not hating. That's just where he belongs. 11, yeah, so it's a little bit lower than what people expect. I think he was, okay, the highest was the top 5, and some person had him as low as 18. But the thing is, yeah, I think you could make a case that this is okay. Like, Kobe, the thing is, yeah, 5 championships, MVP, 2 finals MVPs. He has a lot of all-star, all NBA selections, a lot of all-defensive selections too. And he averages 25, 5, and 5. So, great offensive player, as everyone knows, right? One of the all-time scorers in NBA history. The problem is that he wasn't particularly efficient on those. He liked to play a lot of hero ball. Also, in the playoffs, he doesn't really raise his scoring average. It just kind of stays the same. Doesn't lower it either, but just doesn't really raise it. Just kind of stays the same in the playoffs. When it comes to rebounding and passing, he's nothing special. Just kind of average. Field goal percentage. The thing is, he's kind of a shot chucker. I know he's not really efficient, but also he's kind of just average, league average for his shooting, which is an issue, I guess, if you shoot a ton of shots. The thing about his championships is that 3 of them he was the second best player, and that is something when you're going to talk about someone who people think is in the GOAT conversation. You can't have 3 championships where you're the second best player, right? Not if you're going to be somewhere higher. So I think that I have him number 9. I still think he's obviously an all-time great, but yeah, Bleacher put him 11, which a lot of people had an issue with outside of the top 10. But yeah, the 1 MVP is a really kind of that also hurts his case too. People say he was robbed. I don't think he's robbed. You're talking about all of his MVP finishes. He only had 2 top 2 MVP finishes, 2008, 2009. The reason why he wasn't in the MVP convo in 2006, 2007 is because his team wasn't good enough. And that's really how MVP works, right? His team wasn't good enough. And he led the league in scoring. He had great stats, sure. But that's not how it works, right? You have a lot of scoring leaders. Will averaged 50 points a game one year. He didn't win MVP. James Harden averaged 36 points a game, didn't win MVP. Luka Doncic had, last year he had a 33, 9, and 10 season, didn't win MVP, right? So there's been guys who have really amazing stats that didn't win MVP. So whatever, right? 35 points a game, that's the scoring champion. That's not MVP. The thing is, his team wasn't good enough. So that's why he didn't win MVP. It wasn't a robbed thing. That's just how MVP works, right? You can't make an exception just like you do for Westbrook, because what Westbrook did was historic. What Kobe did wasn't historic. So yeah, and then 3 of these championships are that's Shaq's championships, really. So that kind of brings him down a bit. No matter what Kobe fans want to say, they want to cherry pick his games. You cherry pick a game here and there where Kobe scored more than Shaq. It doesn't matter. We're talking about overall. Look at the finals, right? Who was finals MVP? It was Shaq, right? And you look at most of the playoff performances, the majority of them, 8 out of the 12 at least during that playoff run, Shaq was the main guy. And that is pretty clear, right? You look at the Kobe outscored Shaq, in 3 or 4 of those? But Shaq outscored Kobe in 8 of those. I mean, Shaq was still the main guy. I don't care if he was, if he fouled out in the 3rd quarter, Kobe saved him in the 4th quarter. That doesn't make Kobe equal to Shaq, right? Shaq's still the main guy. So anyways, all of this accolades does make him still top 10 in my opinion, but he's not going to be top 5 like what people think, okay? Steph Curry, number 10. I have Steph Curry at 13. Pretty close, actually, but I don't have him in the top 10. Although I can see why the reasoning is. Why is he over Kobe? So Steph has 4 championships, 2 MVPs, finals MVP, 2-time scoring champion, and is the greatest shooter ever. Everyone knows that, right? The thing is, Curry's offense, even though, his points per game is pretty close to Kobe's, but he's much more efficient than Kobe is. He's a much better shooter than Kobe is. And he's a better passer than Kobe, obviously. So his offensive impact, I would say, is better than Kobe's. Because Kobe, when he shoots and scores, he's pretty much by himself. He just plays ISO. He doesn't get the team as involved. Steph gets the entire team involved, spreads out the floor, gets the ball movement flowing. He's a much better shooter, much more efficient, can hit from deep. He's just a better offensive player. Now, Kobe, the argument for Kobe is that he has 1 more championship, 1 more finals MVP, and he has got the all defensive selections. So that's the argument for Kobe. I would still put Kobe over Curry because of that, because of the extra championship, the extra finals MVP, and the all defensive stuff. I would put him over Curry because Curry doesn't have the defensive accolades that Kobe does. Although he is, I would say, better on offense. But yeah, I would personally not put Curry above Kobe. Someone had him as high as 4. Wow. Wilt Chamberlain 9 is pretty low in my opinion. I have him 5. 2-time champion, 4-time MVP, Finals MVP, 10-time All NBA, 7-time scoring champion. He actually has 11 rebounding titles too that they didn't put on here. So he averages 30 and 23 and 4, which is incredible. Like the stats just kind of like they jump out at you because it's Wilt Chamberlain, right? His stats are like mind-boggling. The thing is about Wilt, he has the stats, obviously. His stats are just like video game numbers. But yeah, the 2 championships I think is what really keeps him down, right? And he should have 2 Finals MVPs, by the way, because they didn't give him out in 67. But he should have 2 Finals MVPs. Yeah, someone actually put him outside the top 10. Yeah, I think it's just the 2 championships that puts him down, honestly. Like, if he had more championships, he would definitely be higher, but that's the only thing he's really missing. He has the dominance of the stats. Obviously, one of the most dominant, if not the most dominant player in NBA history, right? Look at those stats, right? Those 30 and 23, like video game numbers, right? This is one of the greatest rebounders, if not the greatest rebounder, actually, of all time. Yeah, he is the number 1 rebounder of all time, actually. If you look at the totals. Larry Bird, number 8. I have him same, number 8, exactly there. I also have him above Kobe, but I do not have him above Wilt. So the 3-time champion, 3-time MVP, 2-time Finals MVP, 24, 10, and 6. Again, Larry Bird has pretty much everything except for longevity. He only played 13 seasons, didn't have the longevity, but pretty much has everything else. He has the championships, he has the MVPs. He has the numbers. He's a great shooter for his time, great scorer, great rebounder, great passer for his position, right? He's pretty much like, yeah, I mean, he was considered the greatest small forward before LeBron for a reason, right? Like, and in some ways, he's still better than LeBron in a lot of ways, like, especially for rebounding and if you want to say shooting, sure. Like, he's also great, pretty good defender too. So he's a pretty underrated defender in my opinion. So yeah, Larry Bird's a pretty complete player in my opinion. Only reason he's not higher is just because his longevity and just the guys above him have more championships. So that's really about it. Yeah, like Tim Duncan. I also have Tim Duncan 7, right above Bird, because Tim Duncan has more championships. It's pretty close between him and Bird, but Duncan has more championships. 2 MVPs, 3 Finals MVPs, 15-time All Defense, 19, 11, 3. Yeah, and yes, Tim Duncan is better than Kobe. I don't think, like, people have that debate, but to me, Duncan is better. I mean, he has more MVPs, more Finals MVPs. He is a better defender. Like, Kobe's a good defender, but I think he wasn't really in consideration for being like, okay, he's the league's best defender, right? Duncan was actually, like, he didn't win Defensive Player of the Year, but he's in consideration, right? Like, you would consider Duncan one of the greatest defenders in the league. You wouldn't consider Kobe that, even if Kobe has all those all defense. So I do think Duncan's a better defender than Kobe is. He has more awards than Kobe does. And okay, he's not as big of a scorer as Kobe, but he's a better team player. And his scoring average goes up in the playoffs. He actually goes up to 21 points per game in the playoffs. Kobe stays the same. So that tells me that Duncan actually raises his game in the playoffs. And he has that 2003 run, which is better than any Kobe run. Yeah, like Kobe has a 2009, 2010 with Gasol. Okay, those are good. But then Duncan, 2003 without any All-Stars, goes through Kobe and Shaq, and then has a near quadruple double in the finals. Like that's better than any Kobe playoff run, in my opinion. So, anyways, this is where Duncan belongs. He's just he's the greatest power forward of all time. So he's the best at his position. That's got to mean something. I actually think Duncan should be more in the GOAT conversation, to be honest. And Shaq right after Duncan. I think, yeah, Shaq versus Duncan is kind of a debate too, although I have Shaq lower. I have Shaq at 11. But if you want to talk about the peak versus longevity thing, that's another debate, right? 4-time champion, MVP, 3-time Finals MVP, 2-time scoring champion. Okay, Shaq versus Duncan I think is an interesting one. I have Shaq lower. I think most people have Shaq lower than Duncan, but it's really a debate like about if you want to look at the primes. Shaq has one of the best primes of any player, right? And especially in the finals, like those finals performances where he won 3 Finals MVPs are dominant. He averaged like 36 points per game and like 14 rebounds. Like that's incredible, right? And he averages 24 points for his career. Obviously better scorer than Duncan is. As good of a rebounder as Duncan. He's a good defender, not quite as good as Duncan though. Duncan's a better defender, but Shaq's a good defender in his prime. And Shaq has played actually as many seasons as Duncan, but I would say Duncan definitely has a more consistent type of career than Shaq. Shaq really trailed off. It's like after the Miami stuff, Shaq basically fell off a cliff. Duncan did not. Duncan was good until his last season. So, anyways, if you want to compare the two, Shaq has a better peak. Duncan has the better longevity and overall the better career, right? Because he has more MVPs and more championships. But yeah, Bill Russell, 5. I have him 4. Okay, 11 championships. That's the most out of any major league sport. Actually, it's not just the NBA. 5 MVPs, 11-time All NBA, 12-time All Star, 4 rebounding titles, 15, 23, and 4. Yep. So the thing about Russell versus Wilt, right? People always want to compare the two. I know they ranked Wilt lower. For me, it was pretty close. Russell has the championships, of course. He also has one more MVP. Wilt has the stats, except for rebounding. They're pretty close in rebounding and passing too. They're pretty close in rebounding, passing. Just Wilt has the offensive stats. So Wilt is a much better scorer than Russell is. Russell has the championships because, like, supposedly everyone says he has the better team. That's only partly true. Russell had the better team for until 1966-ish. After 66, after Wilt went to the 76ers, Wilt actually had the better team. But Wilt still lost it after, actually. So Wilt won in 67, right? He beat Russell. 68, he actually kind of choked. In 69, he choked too with the Lakers. So he actually choked away 2 of the championships to Russell. So that's the thing. Russell doesn't choke. Russell is a very, very clutch player. So Russell's 10-0 in elimination games. And that's the thing. It's I rank Russell higher, not... Okay, stat-wise, it looks like Wilt is better on paper. And it looks like, it's just because Russell has a better team, that's why he won more championships. No, it's not just that. It's because Russell was the better playoff player. He had more of a... It's just he raised his game more in the playoffs. Wilt did not raise his game in the playoffs as much as Russell. So that's the difference here. And if you look it up, 68 and 69, Wilt should have won those championships, but he didn't because he choked. So Russell actually won those because Russell does not choke. Russell's very clutch. So that's the difference between the two. Wilt has the stats, but Russell's more clutch, basically, what it comes down to. Russell was a better leader in the intangibles, and I think that matters. Magic Johnson at 4 and Magic Johnson at 6. So yeah, anyways, Magic Johnson is pretty close to top 5 or in the top 5 for most people. 5-time champion, 3-time MVP, 3-time Finals MVP, 10-time All NBA. The greatest passer ever, right? 20 points per game, 7 and 11. Yeah, the thing about Magic is that you have to realize that Magic and Duncan never missed the playoffs. They were just perennial winners. Magic, even though he had Kareem on his team, after Kareem retired, Magic still went to the finals. So if you want to say, but Magic had Kareem, okay, but Magic was the better player for at least, 3 of those 5 championships? 1982, 1987, 1988. He was at least the best player for 3 of those championship teams over Kareem. And he also went to the finals after Kareem retired. So that means something, right? And yes, he is the better Laker. I mean, in terms of the accolades, he has same amount of championships as Kobe, 2 more MVPs than Kobe, 1 more Finals MVP than Kobe. He has more accolades than Kobe in a Lakers uniform, right? So I think he's the better Laker than Kobe. To me, anyways, Magic's one of my favorite players. If you want to compare him to Bird, I think the reason why he's ahead of Bird is just because he has more championships. They're pretty close, but the championships really give Magic the edge here, and the additional Finals MVP. And if you want to compare him to Curry, because people are comparing Magic to Curry, who's the best PG? Well, look at this. Curry has 4 championships, Magic has 5. Curry has 2 MVPs, Magic has 3. Curry has 1 Finals MVP, Magic has 3. He has more All-NBA, more assist titles. Obviously, Magic is a better passer. Curry's the better scorer, of course. But if you want to look at just the accolades and the finals too, right? Magic went to 9 NBA finals, right? Curry went to 6. Yeah, I mean, just by the accolades and stuff, I would say the stats are kind of a wash because, okay, Curry's a much better scorer and shooter, but Magic's a much better rebounder and passer. So that kind of evens itself out. But if you just look at the accolades, yeah, Magic has more accolades than Curry does. So he's higher. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, I have number 3. I think the top 3 for this list and my list is going to be the same. Kareem at number 3, 6-time champion, 6-time MVP, 2-time Finals MVP, 15-time All-NBA, 11-time All-Defense, 2 scoring titles, 24, 11, and 3. Yep. Now the second all-time leading scorer, the most MVPs ever, and a 6-time champion. Yeah, I mean, what can you say? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is... I think for a time you could compare like Russell, Wilt, and Kareem, but for me, Kareem is better than Russell and Wilt because he's kind of like got a bit of both. He has the championships, so he has the winning side of it. He has the MVPs, and he also has the stats. You know, not as great as Wilt's, but he has the stats. You know, so he has the kind of both. You know, the stats of Wilt and the winning of Russell. Like not as much as both, but kind of a mix of both. So. Anyways, I think Kareem kind of has that. And also Kareem faced better competition. So he faced better competition than Russell and Wilt did. So that's why he ranks higher than them for me. And his longevity is another thing. He played 20 seasons. Russell and Wilt played like 13. So, yeah. LeBron. Okay, yep. I definitely have LeBron number 2. I mean, I think this is the natural spot for him. 4-time champion, 4-time MVP, Finals MVP, all-time leading scorer, 21-time All-Star, actually 21-time All-NBA. That's incredible. 27, 7, and 7. He's maintained this stat for 22 seasons. That's incredible, right? Even like 27, 7, and 7 for just a few seasons is hard to do. LeBron's done it for 22. Just think about that. Yeah, so anyways, yeah, I think I got to put LeBron number 2 as well because like the Jordan versus LeBron debate is there, but LeBron doesn't quite match Jordan in terms of the accolades. He's got the stats. I mean, he's got better stats arguably than Jordan does because he's got the rebounding and passing and stuff, and the totals keep piling up, right? He's got more All-Star, more All-NBA, you know, more all-time in scoring. He's got the totals, but Jordan still has more of the main accolades, if you know what I mean. So Jordan's obviously number 1, which I also have number 1. So if you want to compare the two, Jordan 6-time champion, 5-time MVP, 6-time Finals MVP, 9-time All-Defense, Defensive Player of the Year, 10 scoring titles, 36 and 5. And by the way, it's not close between him and Kobe. Kobe fans like to put him and Jordan together. It's not close. Look at that. He's got 1 more championship. He's got 4 more MVPs, 4 more Finals MVPs, 8 more scoring titles, Defensive Player of the Year, 5 more points per game, 1 more rebound per game, 1 more assist per game, 5% more efficient. Like, it's not even close between him and Kobe, right? Like, he just, everything's just better. You can't even compare. That's, like, it's not like Kobe's just number 2. Like, that's why there's such a big gap between the two. And Kobe fans don't understand. There's a big gap between Kobe and Jordan. Even if Kobe looks like Jordan, it's actually a big gap. Anyways, Jordan versus LeBron. Jordan has more championships. Jordan has more MVPs. Jordan has more Finals MVPs. Jordan has more all-defensive selections. Jordan has a Defensive Player of the Year. Jordan has 9 more scoring titles, and he has 5 more points per game. I mean, 3 more points per game, actually. If you want to go playoffs, then that's like 5 points a game more. Obviously, it doesn't match LeBron in the totals or the rebounding or assists, but if you're talking about the main stuff here, the championships, MVPs, Finals MVPs, defense, and scoring titles, yeah, Jordan is just, he has more of them. So it's just that simple. Like for me, I'm ranking these guys based on the total, you know, accolades, awards, and everything. But these are the main ones, and Jordan just has more of them compared to LeBron. LeBron has more of the career totals, and he has more of the rebounding and assists and stuff like that. But that's not quite as important as the championships, the MVPs, and the Finals MVPs, and the all-defensive and Defensive Player of the Year for me. Like this stuff is more important to me than the stat totals. I think that's where the debate comes to. If you think the debate is about the all-time total stuff, then maybe LeBron's your GOAT. But for me, this stuff is more important. The championship, MVP, Finals MVP, all defensive Player of the Year, scoring titles. That stuff is more important to me. So that's ultimately what pushes Jordan ahead for me. So anyways, that's my number 1. That's it, guys. I just went through 100 players that Bleacher Report did, so and compared it to my list. Definitely there's guys on my list that wasn't on Bleacher Report, the ABA guys, right? Like Dan Issel and Connie Hawkins, Spencer Haywood, Mel Daniels. Yeah, those guys are not on the list here because, I mean, let's face it, people don't really care about the ABA stuff as much as me. But yeah, most of the guys, we have the same guys on each list. It's just, there's a few guys. Actually, I did have Tiny Archibald on my list. Did I say he wasn't in my top 100? I take that back. I actually did not even realize. Okay. Okay, he had him 80. Okay, they had him 80. I had Tiny Archibald 92. Okay, sorry, I didn't realize that. I actually did have Tiny Archibald in my top 100. I thought he wasn't in my top 100. Okay, never mind. Yeah, Tiny Archibald is in my top 100. He just isn't quite as high as what Bleacher Report put him. And Nate Thurmond, I'm surprised they don't have Nate Thurmond on their list. I think he should have been. He averages 15-15 and is a great defender, one of the all-time great defensive centers. Neil Johnston's always been underrated, so okay, I guess they don't have him. He's a 3-time scoring champion and was the second best player for that Philly Warriors team that Paul Arizin was on. Bobby Jones, a really underrated player. I think he should have been right next to Draymond Green, in my opinion, but one of the greatest defensive players ever, 11-time all-defensive. Yeah, he was like the Draymond and Rodman of his era, but was not on the list. Tom Heinsohn, 8-time champion, was the top 2 or 3 best player for like 4 of those Celtics championships. Didn't make this list for so. I think Tom Heinsohn gets a little bit underrated here. I think he's actually better than Bill Sharman, in my opinion. Yeah, I had him ahead of Bill Sharman, so I actually think Tom Heinsohn was a more important Celtics player compared to Bill Sharman, in my opinion. Jerry Lucas wasn't on the list. Pretty good rebounder, one of the all-time rebounders, actually. Who else? Dennis Johnson didn't make the Bleacher Report list. I think he should have been. He's like a 3-time champion, 1-time Finals MVP. Didn't make the list. That's weird. Yeah, I mean, that if you want someone to represent each championship team, Ben Wallace wasn't on the list either, right? So you don't have the 2004 Pistons and 79 Sonics represented. And obviously the ABA guys, Dan Issel, Spencer Haywood wasn't on there. Connie Hawkins wasn't on there. George McGinnis, another ABA guy, wasn't on there. I had him fairly high. Mel Daniels, he's a 2-time MVP, 3-time champion in the ABA, wasn't on there. But the rest are there in different spots. Some actually on the same spot. So anyways, that's my reaction to the ranking. Yeah. So let me know what you guys think. Yeah, just went through it all and kind of give you guys my thoughts. So yeah, let me know if you guys want to talk basketball. I'm up for talking basketball anytime. Yeah, let me know. As always, yeah, thanks for watching.